insurance is in sync, you can roll with anything, travelers.
Welcome back to NBC's Football Night in America, presented by Chevrolet.
This, kids, is the Chevrolet drive to kickoff for Bears-Giants, which could be an NFC Championship game preview. And Al Michaels and John Madden are getting ready to call it. From the Meadowlands, they magically appear. There's the dynamic duo. Take it, Al.
Thank you, Bob. Without doubt, Bob, to this point in the season, the game of the year in the NFC, the teams with a composite mark of 13-3. Good news for Chicago, John. Brian Urlacher sprained his toe at the end of the Miami game last week. Missed some practice time early in the week, but healthy and ready to go tonight.
Yeah, and I was watching him in the pregame warm-up, and he looked fine. He has a padded, so it's a big toe on his left foot, but you just watch him here, and his movement is fine. And you know that he is going to be keying on Tiki Barber. His job is, number one, stop the run, and that means Tiki Barber. And
everybody knows Tiki Barber has announced his retirement, so he has 8 more regular season games to play. And wouldn't this be something? At the halfway mark of this season, at the age of 31, he leads the league in rushing.
You know, I've been watching Tiki Barber for years, and I think that he looks better and is playing better right now than I ever remember him. And we told you, Brian Urlacher is going to be keying him. He is keying on Brian Urlacher.
Bears-Giants, the winner of the game will be the #1 seed in the NFC at this point. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Al, thanks very much. More highlights to show you. Let's begin with another renewal of one of the oldest rivalries in the league, Denver and Oakland. Shanahan and Shell, they have both been here before.
The Steelers.
So is Jake Plummer, intercepted here by Nnamdi Asomugha, who was awesome on that one. And Lamont Jordan capitalizes, taking it in for the 1-7-0 Oakland early.
Then you have some big plays coming up. David Kirkus, watch this, in and out. 42 yards on the punt return, and 3 plays later, you're going to see Jake Plummer hit his favorite target, Javon Walker. Brett Favre saying, where the heck has this guy been? 39 yards in the touchdown. That makes it 7-7. And what a big day for Warren Sapp. Too old? I say, ha! Not just 1 sack on the day. Ha, that's what I said. But he's going to come up with a second one. 6 sacks on the season, the most for Warren Sapp since 2002.
All right, so Shanahan realizes that Plummer's got to get it together. Jay Cutler, the rookie, looking on as they huddle. And Plummer, in fact, begins to look for his tight ends. Here's Steven Alexander making this catch. Then he'll go to Nate Jackson on a 2nd and 7 here and pick up good yardage. 1st and goal. And then they cash in on the touchdown. It'll be Kyle Johnson. And Denver takes a 14-13 lead. Now Plummer will look deep again for Javon Walker. Fabian Washington appeared to have it intercepted, but the refs rule no. Let's take a look, Chris. What do you think? 1 down.
I say yes, unless he bobbled the ball on the tail end. That looks like yes to me.
No INT. Following a Denver punt, Andrew Walter will be sacked by Kennard Lang. He fumbles. This sets the Broncos up for a Jason Elam field goal, puts them up 17-13. Later, Walter will fumble again, and this fumbles away their last chance. The recovery seals the Denver victory. Things are not good for Al Davis these days. His Raiders are 2-7. And Denver comes out with the win, 17-13, and sweeps the 2 games this year against the Raiders. Denver-San Diego next Sunday.
Yeah, and that really should be a good one. It looked like both of these teams had a chance to lose out there today, but Bus, they come back, and really the improbable win by San Diego, and Denver really struggled in this one today.
The good teams find a way to win when they have to, especially when they're playing bad football teams like the Cincinnati Bengals. You find a way to beat those teams you're supposed to beat.
And most importantly, you find a way to win those games on the road, and that's what the Denver Broncos have done. That's what the San Diego Chargers have done. Win those games on the road. So those are marked 2 good football teams. It should be a hard-hitting affair as well.
I'm just joking.
Speaking of hard hitting, settle down, lads. Kickoff drawing near. Brian Urlacher's Bears, Jeremy Shockey's Giants, just about 15 minutes away at the Meadowlands. We'll be coming right back.
I think the most physical team will win.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
They are what Dennis Green said they were.
And we let them off the hook.
They're beatable.
This is the Chevy drive to kickoff as we get closer to Bears-Giants at the Meadowlands. And it's time now to vote for the Football Night in America Player of the Day. Last week's winner, Larry Johnson, appreciated Jerome Bettis' support.
Thank you for my golden peacock. Shouts out to Jerome Bettis. I'm going to put this up in my locker with your name attached to mine. Appreciate it.
All right, and to vote for this week's nominees, you can go online to NBCSports.com or text your choice 1, 2, 3, or 4 to 51515. We'll have the results at halftime, and here are your choices, all from the game today in Cincinnati between the Chargers and the Bengals. Rivers, Tomlinson, Ocho Cinco. Now, I can't say it. Bettis couldn't say it. You know who I'm talking about. Chad Johnson and Carson Palmer. They all had big days today in Cincinnati. Now, tonight, give me a key to the game between the Bears and the Giants.
Well, you know, the Chicago Bears would absolutely love to blitz Eli Manning. But if you do, as we've seen earlier this season, it means your cornerbacks have to try to go one-on-one against Plexico bursts. Here's a guy that's 6'6", can jump up over the top. The Philadelphia Eagles basically lost this game on this play in overtime. And so anytime you want to come after Eli, you really have to roll the dice. And I'm not sure the Bears are going to be willing to do it.
Ocho Cinco.
There you go. Men, excuse me, please, gentlemen.
It's the boss.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Jack Donaghy, GE Vice President in charge of NFL and microwave programming. One quick question for you. Who authorized the construction of this set?
Bob.
Costas, you should know better. This thing must cost $7-8 million. You could play football in this room.
At least 7 or 8.
How many cups of coffee is that for you?
I need at least a dozen to get through the day.
I saw Sharpe in the green room shoving Jolly Ranchers in his pocket. Who's paying for that?
That would be you, sir.
What's going on here, fellas?
This, of course, would be Alec Baldwin from NBC's 30 Rock. And, of course, although we disdain shameless promotion and hype on this show, there's a good reason for Alec to be here.
We're 30 Rock's moving to Thursday at 9:30 on NBC.
It's a great show.
Yep. Really we're happy to be here to piggyback on this hit show on NBC. Shamelessly
parasite as you will. There you go.
I'm a barnacle on your ship, baby. That's all I am.
Settle in. We got a seat for you. Bears Giants coming up. Alec Baldwin from NBC's 30 Rock, and they are in fact just about set to go at Giant Stadium for the first game of the Sunday night flex schedule. The Giants hosting the Bears. We will see at halftime. Up next, Al Michaels, John Madden with the call of Sunday Night Football on NBC.
This has been NBC's Football Night in America, presented by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, an American revolution.
I'll vote for you if you vote for me. Done.
Get ready for Pro Bowl balloting with NFL Mobile. Available exclusively from Sprint. You can make your Pro Bowl picks from just about anywhere. Text PRO to 7777 with your Sprint or Nextel service, or go to NFL.com to vote.
Is voting 692 times too much? No.
Did you vote yet?
That's Midtown Manhattan, and across the Hudson River we come to Giant Stadium in the New Jersey Meadowlands for the newest chapter in a classic NFL rivalry.
I've been waiting all day for this.
This 12th night of November is a wet one in the New Jersey Meadowlands, but it hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of this crowd one iota as their New York Giants come out onto the field at Giant Stadium ready to take on Brian Urlacher and his Chicago Bears on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels along with John Madden, Andrea Kremer. Welcome to the Meadowlands. Two flagship franchises. These teams first met in 1925. Red Grange played in that game. How are they doing at the moment? Well, the Bears, a lot of people thought, had a chance to go unbeaten. At least that was the talk up until a couple of weeks ago. But that came to a screeching halt last week against a Miami team that had won only one game going into Chicago. The Bears turned it over 6 times, lost the game. The question is, was that an omen or a speed bump? Stay tuned. As far as the Giants are concerned, they started the season raggedly. They were 1-2, a terrible loss in Seattle. There was some finger pointing going on after that game, but they had a bye week. They've gotten it all together, and they have won 5 straight. Their mark is 6-2. But they are decimated by injuries, John. 5 starters, including Amani Toomer. Michael Strahan won't play. We all talk about depth in the NFL. Do the Giants have enough quality depth to beat a good team?
Well, you know, we're going to find out tonight. As head coach Tom Coughlin says, we can't worry about the guys that aren't here. We have to play the guys that are here, and they're going to have to play well. But sometimes I think when this happens, it's not only the guys that are stepping up and have to play, but it's the other guys. It's the stars. Eli Manning has to play well. Plexico Burress, Sharpe has to play well. Antonio Pierce. I mean, all their stars have to also step up. It just can't be where you say, okay, all the backups have to step up and play well. Everyone has to play well.
Now they'll face the Chicago Bears. If you're 7-1 in the middle of the season, you should say, hey, that's great. We feel pretty good about ourselves. But then you have the game they played last week. Even their fans are saying, what in the world was that? How important is it for the Bears to get the taste of last week's loss to Miami out of their mouths tonight?
I think it's important to get off to a good start. I've always said, you know, when you lose, you also lose a little confidence. And this Bear team that comes in here tonight doesn't have a lot of offensive confidence. You know, you look, and last week they had 6 turnovers. Rex Grossman had 3 interceptions, and they're kind of worried about that. You know, you talk to Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, and he says, we want to run the ball tonight. We want to have a ball control offense. I'll tell you what would hurt this Chicago Bear team if they had a couple of turnovers early in this game tonight.
Wouldn't this crowd love to see that? Crowd can't wait. We can't wait. Giants, Bears, enough
I can speak for myself and the team that I'm on. We want to play against the best.
I think it's a big test for our offense. I think it's something we're looking forward to. I love playing football in general, but something about playing on prime time Sunday night, and when the lights come on, it's time to play.
NBC's Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Chevrolet, America's brand, Chevy, an American Revolution. By Best Buy, thousands of possibilities. Get yours. By Campbell's Chunky, official soup and chili sponsor of the NFL. And by GE, Imagination at Work. Spanish audio provided by Telemundo. NBC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
50 degrees, wet, light rain at the moment. Bears, Giants. Big story in Chicago after last week's game was Brian Urlacher, who sprained his toe. Didn't practice earlier in the week. Goes tonight. What's the latest on Brian, Andrea?
Well, Al, Urlacher told me that he does not have turf toe, as has been reported, but rather a sprained ligament on the top side of his left foot by his big toe. He said it's sore, but once he gets out there, it'll be full speed. Now, the toe is wrapped, and he's also wearing a thick protective piece molded to his shoe to guard against getting stepped on again. Now, as for the weather, yes, as you said, it is raining, and as usual for Giants Stadium, the winds are swirling.
Which will make it difficult for the kickers, as it normally does. And speaking of kickers, Robbie Gould will be kicking off for the Chicago Bears, and that is the way it's pronounced. G-O-U-L-D, pronounced Gould. He's had a perfect season. Hasn't missed a field goal attempt nor an extra point. Derek Ward, one of the changes the Giants have had to make because they had to shuffle their special teams because of all of the injuries. And Ward will run the kick back from the 9-yard line. Out past the 20 he comes. And he gets spun down up at the 29-yard line by Mark Bradley. And let's take a look at the New York offense.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Tiki Barber, University of Virginia.
Jim Finn, University of Pennsylvania.
Plexico Burris, Michigan State.
Tim Carter, Auburn University.
Jeremy Sharpe, University of Miami.
Luke Pettigrew, Notre Dame.
Dave Deal, University of Chief Illinois.
Sean O'Hara, Rutgers University.
Chris Snee, Boston College.
Kareem McKenzie, Penn State.
Carter taking the spot of Amani Toomer, had knee surgery, is gone for the year. And Manning starts the game with a pass to Burris, who missed last week's game here against Houston with back spasm. Back tonight and back with a 16-yard gain on the first play of the game, tackled by Danielle Manning.
You know, it's interesting, Al. Charles Tillman is going to play man-to-man on Plexico Burris all night. Burris said that he wanted that, didn't believe the Bears would do it, but they are doing it. They're going to play him man-to-man again with Charles Tillman.
1st and 10 for the Giants at the 45-yard line. Giants on top by 2 games and trying to maintain that 2-game cushion in the NFC East. And they give it to Tiki Barber, and he won't go anywhere on his first carry of the night. Tommy Harris makes the tackle, and John, you circle the Giants' right tackle with a change over there.
Yeah, it was a tight end, and it was Rich Soibert. What they do is they'll go 2 tight ends, but Rich Soibert is a guard, and they have him playing tight end. And again, they'll do it on first down like they did there, and it can be a run, but they will also pass when Seibert is in there.
Seibert back on the bench right now. It's 2nd down and 9. David Tyree is the 3rd wide receiver. He's a special teams maven, but he'll see some offensive action tonight again because of the injury to Toomer. And Tiki Barber, who leads the league in rushing, will add to that total across the 50. He goes to the 35 of the Chicago Bears. Tiki Barber now approaching the 900-yard mark this season and averaging over 4.5 yards per carry.
You know, one thing about this Giant team, they will pull all their offensive linemen. Now, we always think of a guard pulling. Here you see 77, Luke Pettigrew pull. Get that block right there. It's a little counter, then they pull again. And that's the thing Tiki Barber was saying the other day. He said he thinks that those kinds of runs can take advantage of Brian Urlacher's quickness.
5 receivers set, empty backfield after that 18-yard Barber run. And here's Burris with another first down, but a penalty. Ed Hockley is the referee for the moment. The ball will be spotted at the 23-yard line, but Hockley will come in to make the call.
You know, it's interesting. Charles Tillman is on Plexico Burris, but he's
illegal
playing
formation offense. The left tackle is the end man on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That's one of the problems. If you go 5 receivers, as they did right there, you got to line up the right way, and they didn't.
Right, and, you know, a lot of times they'll blame the tackle for that. You know, and someone will say it's a penalty on the tackle, and they'll show it's not the tackle's fault. It means that the end man on the line of scrimmage wasn't up, that he was back off, and the man outside the tackle, there has to be a man outside the offensive tackle on the line of scrimmage.
Back to the 41 now on first down and 15. The 2 tight ends set for the Giants. They give the ball to Barber. Big hole through the middle. Tiki inside the 30, and Tiki picks up the first down before he gets wrestled down by Ogunleye at the 20-yard line. That is a gain of 21 after his 18-yard pickup on his first carry.
Yeah, did you see that play, Al? You know, we were talking about Seibert and how he comes in as a tight end, but he'll also pull. Here you see he is right here. He's a tight end. Now he is going to come to this side and lead the play. You see him come right there and stop and then come back, and he traps the nose tackle, and Tiki Barber runs right off of that.
Giants at the 20 on the game's opening drive. The drive started back at the 29. Manning 1 for 1. Barber with 3 carries for 40 yards. Manning, good protection, swings it out. Barber makes the catch. And picks up about 5. Let's see the Chicago defense here.
Adewale Ogunleye, Tonville High School.
Tommy Harris, the University of Oklahoma.
Tank Johnson, McClintock High School.
Alex Brown, the Mighty Gators.
Hunter Hillenmeyer, Vanderbilt.
Brian Urlacher, University of New Mexico.
Lance Briggs, University of Arizona.
Charles Tillman, the University of Louisiana.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian.
Todd Johnson, Florida.
Nathan Vasher, the University of Texas.
Todd Johnson taking the spot of Mike Brown, the strong safety. He's out for the season, and that's a big blow for Chicago. Got hurt a couple of weeks ago. 2nd down and 5. Manning finding room, and then the pass is knocked away. Hunter Hillenmeyer, the outside linebacker, was there to knock it up into the air, and it will be 3rd down and 5. And once again, John, as was the case last year, that Chicago defense is, I mean, that's what Chicago is all about. This year they're better offensively, but it comes back to this unit.
Yeah, and it all starts in the middle right there with number 91, Tommy Harris, who I think is one of the best defensive tackles in football. And then, of course, Brian Urlacher right behind them. But I will say this Giant offensive line is winning the battle of the line right off the bat here.
3rd and 5. Bears showing blitz from the outside. Brandon Jacobs comes into the game and sets up on the other side of Manning. The blitz is on. Manning gets it away, and that pass is high. So a good start, but then they bogged down at the finish, and they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt on the game's opening drive.
You know, again, Charles Tillman was playing off Plexico Burress there. You can see him off here, and I'm surprised that he's not coming up and pressing. We're getting tighter, because if he doesn't do that, Burress is going to catch things in front of him all night, and then maybe when he does get him up there, he's going to go to work on him deep.
Jay Feely will attempt a 33-yard field goal. Jeff Feagles will hold. And that kick is no good. And again, it's Giants Stadium. You've got the swirling wind, so a very promising start. And an ugly finish on that drive for the Giants as Chicago takes over when we come back. Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Subway Restaurant. Subway, eat fresh. And by Budweiser Select, brewed longer for a bold taste that finishes clean. Expect everything. From Times Square across the river we come to the Meadowlands, where the Giants missed a 33-yard field goal. And Chicago takes over for the first time offensively at its own 24-yard line. Rex Grossman is the quarterback. They start on the ground with Thomas Jones. He gets up to the 25 and will meet the Chicago offense.
Rex Grossman, Florida Gators.
Thomas Jones, the University of Virginia.
Jason McKee, Temple.
Muhsin Muhammad, Michigan State University.
Rashid Davis, San Jose State University.
Desmond Clark, Wake Forest University.
John Tate, Brigham Young University.
Ruben Brown, Pitt.
Olin Cruz, University of Washington.
Roberto Garza, Texas A&M Kingsville.
Fred Miller, Baylor University.
On 2nd down and 9, the pass to Rashid Davis is through his hands. And speaking of Rashid Davis right off the bat, the guy that they're really going to miss is Bernard Berrien, who's become, he's their number 2 receiver to Muhsin Muhammad, but of late he has been their deep threat, and it's Davis who gets the start because Berrien's hurt.
And watch who comes here. R.W. McCourt is the Giants are a nickel or 5 defensive backs, and they bring McQuarters on the blitz, and it looked like if he would have gone right at Grossman, he could have hit him when he threw that thing.
3rd down and 9 up at the 25-yard line. Grossman coming off that 3-interception game, and he also fumbled, and he gets whacked as he throws, and it is intercepted at the 32-yard line. Matthias Kiwanuka, the rookie out of Boston College, the number 1 draft choice, and the guy who's getting the start because both Giant defensive ends are hurt, just intercepts his first career pass and gives the Giants a 1st and goal. And look at Grossman's helmet. That tells the story.
You're right, and the blitz is going to come from the other side. This time it's coming from his backside. You see the back steps up, and then he comes in and see Grossman is looking to his right. He gets hit right there by 2 guys, and just as he throws it, that's a zone dog where they overload the right side, come from that side, drop in the left side, and there was Kiwanuka.
Fred Robbins, the tackle, Will Demps, the safety, the 2 guys to hit him. With Michael Strahan out and Osi Umenyiora out, those are the 2 starters. And a lot of people were surprised when they went in the draft and picked a defensive end, number 1. That was the guy right there, Kiwanuka. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. And they give it to Brandon Jacobs, and he's good as gold on a 1st and goal.
We have all the things that couldn't happen to the Chicago Bears. That's what we talked about. They can't have a turnover early. They had 6 of them last week. They lost to Miami, and they start right now. But the Giants made that happen. I mean, they come on a dog from the backside. They blitz. They get the ball. And then this is just way too easy when Brandon Jacobs can go into the end zone like that.
And that's an interesting celebration. I'm not quite sure what that was, but it could be an ode to his wife, who I believe I read last week that she was pregnant. He puts the ball under his jersey.
I would say that could be an ode to his wife.
And meanwhile, unsportsmanlike conduct
for the ode. For the ode.
3-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
They called it on Jacobs.
I don't think in your ode, I don't think you can celebrate with the ball. Isn't that one of the rules?
Well, I know you can't go to the ground because you can't use a prop. Maybe it's a group celebration. Well, I assume that was the ode right there.
Yeah,
then you've got the group celebration, and that's probably the reason for the unsportsmanlike conduct. Who knows? In any event, it'll be assessed on the kickoff. Jay Feely for the extra point. So Kiwanuka sets it up with the interception, but credit Robbins and Demps for creating that interception on Grossman's second pass of the night. Giants lead early, 7-0. 7-0, the Giants on top, and they'll kick off from their own 15-yard line. You cannot use the ball as a prop. So when he put it under his shirt, when Jacobs did, it was considered a prop, and so that cost him 15 yards, and you saw the exasperation plus on the face of Coughlin. And now Feely's kick is a bouncing ball fielded up at the 32-yard line, taken there and run back to the 45 by Jason McKee. The Bears fullback out to the 45-yard line. So here comes Grossman taking over near midfield. 3 picks last week, starts with a pick tonight with 9 minutes and 49 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. The Giants on top by a score of 7-0.
Next Sunday night, a battle for first place in the AFC West. LT and the Chargers, Champ Bailey and the Broncos. Every game counts, but only one night matters. NBC's Sunday Night Football.
Both won today, and what about that San Diego win? Trailing at 1 point by 3 touchdowns at 2 points to Cincinnati. Thomas Jones starts this drive with a gain of 3. Phillip Rivers, and of course with Manning in the game, and Rivers going to San Diego as part of that whole situation in the draft 2 years ago. Phenomenal day for him. Tomlinson, the Chargers 42 second half points. They'll go against Denver. Denver beat Oakland today, a week from tonight.
So much for Marty Ball, huh?
Wow.
I think Marty Ball is gone to San Diego.
Forever. 2nd and 7, and it's lofted toward Mohammed, but Webster got his hand in there to bat it away. Incomplete, and let's take a look at the Giants starting defense.
William Joseph, University of Miami.
Barry Cofield, Northwestern.
Fred Robbins, Wake Forest. Matthias Kiwanuka, Boston College. Reggie Torber, Auburn.
Antonio Pierce, Mount San Antonio Junior College.
Jarris Wilkinson, Georgia Tech.
Corey Webster, LSU.
Will Demps, San Diego State.
Jabril Wilson, Tennessee.
Sam Madison, Louisville.
They get Madison back, but they're still minus 4 guys who would be starters defensively, and Carlos Emmons is active but probably won't play. 3rd down and 7, and that pass is reached out for and caught. That's a great catch by Muhsin Muhammad.
Yeah, and that's the first time that the Giants went to nickel defense and didn't come with the blitz. Remember, earlier we saw McGordon's coming to blitz on one side, then Will Demps came on the other side. That time they went nickel, but they just dropped into their zones. Muhammad makes a heck of a catch on that, and Grossman makes a very good throw.
Emmons inactive tonight. That's the 5th would-be starter not in the lineup. So the Giants with a patchwork defense. You've got Thomas Jones going to the outside, and Jones gets ridden out of bounds by Demps after a gain of about 8 yards. Thomas Jones, he's their ace running back, but he's a guy who's averaging 3.8 per rush. That's less than the league average. The Bears, John, is a team averaging only 3.4 yards per rush, and that normally doesn't get it done.
No, but Rex Grossman has really picked up in that, and the passing game has picked up. But I think that if Rex Grossman is going to be successful over a season, they need a better running game to help them than they have now.
We'll also see some of Cedric Benson tonight, but for the moment it's Jones, and Jones gets swallowed. William Joseph is right there. Reggie Torbor is right there as well. And of course the Giants these days emulating a jump shot after a sack or a stoppage of a run behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, William Joseph is a tackle, and because of the injuries, he's playing defensive end, and you see him right here. He just takes a hard inside. No one blocks him, and of course that gets the penetration, and that's always going to stop the run.
3rd down and 5 now at the 35. Grossman is one of his first 4 for 13 yards. Looking left, now to the right, now loses the ball. You've got penalty flags, and you've got Garza coming up with the ball at the 38-yard line. It was McQuarters who came in and may have grabbed the face mask with Thomas Jones, or Jones may have grabbed McQuarters' face mask.
Well, that's a plan that the Giants have, is to get in nickel on passing downs when they want to spread out with 3 wide receivers and blitz them from the corners. And it's working. The Bears so far don't have an answer to the nickel blitz of the Giants.
Number 20. The penalty is declined. Brings up 4th down.
That's Jones, who might have not only held but had his face mask as well. In either event, it's 4th down. Take a look again.
Yeah, we always talk about a running back, and we know that that's what he has to do. You see McQuarters come here off the blitz, and Jones did grab him, but it didn't do a heck of a lot of good because McQuarters right there still gets to Grossman and knocks the ball out of his hand. This is not the way the Bears wanted to start with their offense to get confidence from what they did last week.
Bears fans a little nervous at the moment about this offense and the way it's gone, as Maynard sends it into the end zone. Not only last week, but in the Arizona game. Despite the fact they won the game, they also turned the ball over 6 times that night. The defense won it. Giants get it back, leading 7-0. Giants have it. Tiki Barber has his right thumb now wrapped. And we'll check that out with Andrea in just a second as the Giants begin this drive after the touchback at their own 20-yard line. New York up 7-0 halfway through the opening quarter at the Meadowlands. Fake to Barber. Manning's been phenomenal on play action this season. Not here, though. Tillman with the interception. Tillman into Giants territory to the 45-yard line. Good double coverage. Burris, the intended receiver. The pass was underthrown by Manning, and Chicago is back in business.
Manning underthrew that one, but I think the Giants got a little greedy. I mean, they saw that they had man-to-man out there with Charles Tillman, but he was playing off. And now he sneaks up there, so they're going to get it deep. But you see, he sneaks up, but then he bails out. And he's just going to run with Plexico Burris, and he has a little help from the safety, Danielle Manning, over the top. So he's out there man-to-man, and they looked like they knew they had man-to-man, and they just couldn't take that short stuff in front of him. They had to go deep. He threw it short and was intercepted.
Cedric Benson is the running back, 4th guy picked in the draft 3 years ago, and that pass is incomplete. So 2 very ragged series. Penalty flag here thus far for Chicago, as Grossman has started the night where he left off last week.
Grossman is saying he got roughed on that.
Pocket, he says.
Foul, roughing the passer. Defense hit the quarterback in the head. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that'll take the ball to the 30-yard line. A look here.
You see Grossman as he steps up there, the ball is gone. You just see that hand come out and hit him in the head.
Fred Robbins, who created the earlier interception by getting to Grossman. The ball is now at the 30-yard line. 1st down for Chicago. Here's Benson, and Benson goes nowhere. So the Giant defense playing as if every guy who was injured was in there. They look no different, at least at the outset. Barry Cofield, the rookie tackle out of Northwestern, makes the stop.
You know, Barry Cofield has been playing very well, and you know, you talk to players and coaches, and they say that, you know, he never looked like a rookie. He never acted like a rookie, and probably more important than anything, he's never played like a rookie. I mean, he and Fred Robbins, the two defensive tackles for the Giants, are very stout inside.
Second down and 11. The short drop. Grossman comes this way. The pass is a little underthrown, and then it's incomplete. Davis had it, but not long enough, and the pass is incomplete. Jabril Wilson that time helping to dislodge it. It'll be third down and 11. Take another look at this. I thought he had it long enough. Wilson comes sliding in to knock it out. And then Chicago recovers anyway. Otherwise, you had a possible challenge.
And here's this third down, giant nickel defense again. This time with a three-man line. They've had a lot of success blitzing this situation. They're not now. They're going the opposite.
Third and 11, and that pass is juggled, and that's not caught. I said earlier, when Davis, it was ruled incomplete. Had he fumbled it with the new ruling this year, you can challenge it, but it has to be clear as to who recovers it. The Bears recovered. That time Davis can't handle it, and the Bears are forced to kick again.
Yeah, here's the opposite of bringing pressure. They just rushed two guys and dropped 9. Now that is throwing into coverage, and that's what they're trying to do to Rex Grossman. You know, is show him something, then do something else. You'll get him to feel that this is what the defense is going to do, and then give him a different picture.
Robbie Gould hasn't missed a kick all season. This will test him. Swirling wind, 49-yard attempt. Maynard puts it down, and Robbie Gould's perfect season continues. Chicago on the board for 3. Down by 4 following the pick. 7-3 Giants. If you have seen NBC's new hit Heroes, you've heard Save the Cheerleader, Save the World. And over the next 2 Mondays, it will all become clear. Heroes tomorrow night, Monday night, 9 Eastern Pacific, 8 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. Robbie Gould to kick off. Fielded at the 2-yard line by Derek Ward. And Ward with a good run back all the way up to the 33. We started to talk about Barber before. Andrea, what do you know?
Well, he's got a sprained right thumb. Now, when he was on the bench, they taped it, and the first thing they did was hand him a ball to make sure that he can hold it. He's back in the game. Obviously, he hasn't had a carry yet, so we'll monitor and see how he does. Hasn't
had a carry since he had it wrapped. He had 3 carries for 40 yards on that first drive. Then he came out, had it wrapped. And let's see what happens here at the 32-yard line, first down.
He just has to remember to keep it high and tight.
Which he's done with tremendous effectiveness since Coughlin took over in 2004. He used to be a fumbler, but now, of course, he almost never fumbles. And almost everybody knows that Tiki Barber, as you take a look at what he's done early on, remember they thought of him as like a third down back and a Dave Meggett kind of guy. And you see his numbers for the first 5 years of his career, and then all of a sudden people began to realize this guy can do everything.
You know, and he just seems to get better. I mean, I think he's better this year than he was last year. And I think as weeks go on, and I watch him on film and tapes, and he looks better each week than he did the week before. And then here's a guy that's retiring.
And it sounds as if it's unconditional. Can't be talked out of it. The screen set up to the other tight end, Shanko. Of course, Jeremy Shockey, the #1 tight end. And he is stopped at the 33-yard line. A lot of the people around the Giants knew that, you know, Tiki had been talking about it. Do you think there is any chance that he'd play next year? I mean, he says no.
You know, in talking to him, I don't think there's any chance that he's going to play. I mean, in his mind, he said that, you know, now he wants to go out on top. I mean, he comes in today, he's the leading rusher in the NFL. He wants to go out that way. He doesn't want to go out as a broken down back and you know, a guy that used to be good. And he said, you know, he's at the top and he wants to feel good the rest of his life.
3rd and 8. And that's incomplete. If he goes out on top, I mean, he'll go out on top like Jim Brown went out on top, or like Sandy Koufax went out on top because the Giants are a legitimate Super Bowl contender, at least at this point, and Tiki Barber is leading the league in rushing.
Well, he said, you know, it's not the games. He said it's the week. And he said, you know, it's the off season. And he doesn't have the same feeling to have the same work in the off season. It's not, you know, the week. He said, and then when he really knew it, he said he goes to Philadelphia and he said it's Philly week. It's Eagles. We got a great. He said I didn't feel anything. And he said I knew right then when I couldn't feel anything in Philly week, it was time to get out.
Jeff Fiegel's punt is fielded, but out of bounds at the 23-yard line. Devin Hester is a great run back guy. He couldn't wait to run it back. The only problem was he was on the chalk. Meanwhile, Rex Grossman, a guy being talked about a month ago as a potential league MVP because of those numbers. He was tremendous over the first 4 games, but up and down since. Good game against Buffalo, terrible game at Arizona, though the defense won it. Against San Francisco, he was very good. And then last week, he was terrible again. So all of a sudden, you've got a guy being talked about as an MVP candidate about 5 weeks ago, and now there are people in Chicago saying, get Brian Greasy in there. I mean, those are the vagaries of the NFL. Here's Grossman over the middle, and that pass is caught at the 45-yard line by Muhsin Muhammad, and a first down at midfield.
Yeah, we talked about Bernard Berrien being out of there, and he was kind of a speed guy. And now with Berrien out there, then Muhammad has taken Berrien's place, and he's running those types of patterns. But when Muhammad does it like this, he has to do it with moves. He's going to be under control, run those deep digs or ins, those kinds of things. Double move to go deep, and they miss Berrien's speed.
8 years at Carolina, now 2 years in Chicago for Muhsin Muhammad, and the pass here to the fullback, Jason McKee. He's out of bounds at the 44. Bernard Berrien, and there he is, rib injury. Can't play tonight, might be able to play next week. The Bears can only hope against the Jets as they come back here, but he's made a tremendous difference in the Chicago attack.
Well, he gave him that speed. I mean, he's the guy that stretches the field and makes that safety stay back. And when you have that speed guy stretching the field, it makes everything else you do a lot easier.
Toss back here to Cedric Benson, and he goes nowhere. Barry Cofield, the rookie, makes the tackle. Cedric Benson, #1 pick in 05, 4th overall pick out of the University of Texas.
You know, and the tackles like Barry Cofield have to make that play. They run the line because that's the old toss crack where you toss the ball and the outside receiver comes in and cracks the end man on the line of scrimmage, and you have to help that end man that's being cracked. And the way to do that is pursuit down the line by your defensive tackle.
Benson lost 5. Chicago tonight, 6 rushes for 3 net yards. 3rd down and 8 from the 49-yard line. Flag. Whistle before the snap.
One thing we see, R.W. McQuarters coming on a blitz again. This is where the Giants have really gotten him in a bind.
5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Fred Miller.
Where they've really gotten him in a bind as they go 3 wide receivers, and then the Giants bring in their nickel, and then with the blitzes they've really gotten to him. But they haven't blitzed every time. Remember the last time they dropped 9, but this pass play here again they just blitzed.
What do you suspect here, John? 3rd down and 13.
I would think they would drop. I don't think that this would be a blitzing situation.
Bears have to get to the Giants 41 to convert. Out of the shotgun, first time this season. First time the Bears have used the shotgun all year. And the pass is incomplete, intended for Muhammad, closing quickly. The secondary, led by the safety Jabril Wilson. So the Bears and the Bucs, the only teams in the league through the first half of the season not to use the gun. We were talking to Grossman about it last night. He said, you know what? I wouldn't mind doing it. And he said, I think the offensive line has politicked for it.
Yeah, I was really surprised that you would not use a shotgun and use it the first time in this game on the road against these Giants. But I think they think on 3rd down it's going to help him see the defense better.
And they use it on the 3rd and 13, and that's a floating kick that hangs up in the wind and goes out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Kicked by Maynard there. The Giants will take over. They'll spot the ball at the 27-yard line with 2 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Burris, the ex-Steeler, came over here last season did some talking this week. He was talking about Chicago's cornerbacks, talking about Tillman and Vasher, and kind of dissing them. They want to come out, bump and press one-on-one. Let's go out there and have fun. Let's get it, he says. And this is a guy coming off a week when he was inactive because of back spasms.
And there he is, man-to-man press coverage against Charles Tillman.
1st and 10, and that pass is caught by David Tyree, and that is Urlacher is there. But Tyree is able to hang on, and Tom Coughlin's out about 10 yards out onto the field screaming about a foul.
I think that he thought that Urlacher took a swing when Tyree was down. Maybe he was just trying to knock the ball out of there.
Giant injury. Pettigrew, injury timeout.
On the new NBCSports.com. After the game, watch Bob, Chris, Jerome, and Sterling tackle Week 10's hot topics, roundtable style, only on NBCSports.com.
And plenty to talk about on NBCSports.com. Pettigrew, who's had back spasms, but here, actually, he gets rolled up on and has to come out at least for one play.
Well, that's a tough one where you're blocking your guy and you're blocking your guy, and then you get rolled up from the other side.
Bob Whitfield, the 15-year veteran, longtime former Falcon, takes his spot. And here goes Barber, and he goes nowhere. And you've got Urlacher in the middle of the action there. Urlacher made the tackle on Tyree. It looked as if he might have thrown a punch. That's why Coughlin, from his angle, had come out onto the field. We looked at the replay, and there wasn't. And Brian in on the play again. It'll be 3rd down and 4 upcoming.
I mean, he reads so well. You see he's back off about 5 yards, so he can see everything that happens. Then he takes that little pop step, then goes right in, takes on Shockey, but doesn't take him square, runs right through his shoulder, right into Barber. I mean, that's what, you know, they're talking about runners that run downhill. Urlacher is a middle linebacker that runs downhill.
Now it's 3rd down and 5. Pressure on Manning, and he gets it away, and the pass is incomplete. The coverage is good, and that is Tyree seeing more offensive action tonight. Again, with Toomer hurt, Tyree moves up a spot. Carter moves into the starting lineup, and for Manning and the Giants, in comes the punting unit.
You know, I think in this first half here, this first quarter, what we're seeing is 2 young quarterbacks.
Manning 4 of 9 for 28 yards after a good start on that first drive. Grossman 3 of 9 for 45. You've got Fiegels kicking. Hester has run back 2 punts for touchdowns this season. He's also prone to fumbling, and that kick by Fiegels is out of bounds. And they'll spot it out past the 30 to the 35-yard line. These two teams first met back in 1925. We talked about it, 73,000 spectators. Red Grange was playing in his 4th game. They met 6 times in a championship game. Of course, you can't meet in the Super Bowl, so they met in those championship games in the pre-Super Bowl era. 40 Bears and Giants in the Hall of Fame. And of course, you think about the Mara family, you think about George Halas, and I mean, it starts there and then just goes down through the years.
The sneaker game.
The sneakers, yep. 1st and 10, the ball at the 35-yard line for the Bears as Grossman gives the ball to Jones, and Jones loses the ball. Scramble at the 25-yard line. Giants have it.
You know, isn't it something? The Bears come off last week against Miami where they had 6 turnovers. So now what the Giants do is they see that and they know the way to beat the Bears is you have to get turnovers. You have to go after the ball. You have to strip the ball. You have to do those kinds of things, and that's the way their defense is playing this first quarter. Jarris Wilkinson is the linebacker right there, and you see him get that left hand in there, and then Jabril Wilson came up and pulled it out.
And go figure, Thomas Jones had more touches without a fumble, 183, than anybody in the league at this point. So that's very uncharacteristic. Wilson recovering the ball at the 31-yard line. They give it now to Barber. Barber starts to stumble, and a flag comes in at the end, and Tiki is down after a gain of about 2, and that should, well, after the flag, after they tell us what the call is. They'll start the clock again, and it might take us down to the end of the first quarter.
Holding, offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Center Sean O'Hara.
Sean O'Hara went to practice on Friday, and he was probably the happiest guy in practice because he went to Rutgers. Rutgers beat Louisville the night before. And you talk about braggadocious. There was one braggadocious offensive lineman.
And he was a walk-on at Rutgers.
You know, and he's made himself into a good NFL center. And this is a strong offensive line. I mean, they lose Luke Pettigrew, but then Bob Whitfield comes in. Last week he had to come in for right tackle Kareem McKenzie, and Bob Whitfield is still a very good NFL tackle.
1st and 20, and as I say, they wind the clock after the penalty call, and they don't get it off, and that'll do it for the first quarter. End of 1 at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. The New York Giants 7, the Chicago Bears 3. And NBC Sunday Night Football continues right after these messages.
Touchdown! Touchdown! Tomlinson is in! Just give it to the great back. Let him do it himself.
And back we come to the Meadowlands. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kremer start the second quarter. 1st and 20 for the Giants in Bears territory. The pass is swung out to Tiki Barber, and he's taken down after a short gain by the outside linebacker Hunter Hillenmeyer. Tiki Barber is now the Giants' leading receiver. He and Amani Toomer each had 32 this season coming into the game, and that also puts him in front of Toomer on the career list as well. Manning fakes, then goes back that way. And Barber has nowhere to go. Took a little look back to see if anybody was trailing.
Yeah, Eli Manning was lucky on that one, and he didn't get in trouble. There has to be someone illegally downfield because it was a screen pass to the left. And when he was ready to throw it, he couldn't throw it, so he had to back up.
Flag came in at the end of the play.
So when he backed up, then you're going to have illegal man downfield. I know that you have illegal lineman downfield. And that's what you can do to a screen. If you throw the timing of a screen off, then the play doesn't have a chance, and it's going to result usually in something bad happening to the offense.
Ed Hockley.
They were fouled by both teams on the play. Ineligible receiver downfield by the offense, number 69. There was also holding defense, number 31. The penalty's offset. Replay second down. Correction, number 60. Number 60 was illegally downfield.
That's Sean O'Hara on one side, Nathan Vasher on the other side as it begins to rain lightly again.
Yeah, but you can't blame the offensive lineman for that. Again, the screen was a timing thing, like I said, and the timing was thrown off. Then Eli Manning went back, and then he looked like he was trying to throw it away, but he did get it out there to Tiki Barber. But the Bears played that screen to their right very well.
2nd down and 16. 3 wideouts in this set of the shotgun. Haven't seen Shockey catch a pass yet tonight. Caught 8 last week against Houston. Swinging to the outside. Tyree makes the catch, breaks a tackle, and takes it to the 28-yard line. Got out of the grasp of Nathan Vasher and takes it inside the 30, where it'll be 3rd down and 6 upcoming.
That was interesting. You see where David Tyree came from. He was in the backfield. He started out in a slot, and then he goes as a right halfback. He's looking there for Shockey. Then he comes back to Tyree, who as a wide receiver came out of the backfield.
3rd down, we'll call it 7. They'll spot it right at the 28-yard line. Manning operating from the gun. Bears moving around defensively, showing blitz. Here they come. Pressure is on, and the pass is short because David Tyree was the intended receiver, but the heat was put on by Lance Briggs, the outside linebacker.
Yeah, and Eli Manning knew that. He was back in the shotgun, and that's one of the reasons you get into shotgun, so you can see the defense, you can see the blitz, and here is what he sees right there. And of course, when he comes free, Eli Manning knows, I have to get rid of this ball right now.
Now you have a 46-yard attempt for Jay Feely, who going in the other direction missed one from 33. Jeff Feagles now in his 19th season to hold, and that kick will draw its way through the uprights. Started a little bit to the outside, drew back in, and Feely extends the Giant lead to 7. 10-3 New York, early second quarter. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward. By Dell, business solutions designed for one company in mind. Yours, Dell, purely you. By the Da Vinci Code on DVD and Blu-ray, November the 14th. And by McDonald's. About 8 miles as the helicopter flies. Michael Strahan with a strained foot. Now, the question is, how long will he be out? Clearly tonight, almost certainly next week. And they're saying 2 to 4 weeks at the moment. Kickoff fielded 5-yard line by Rasheed Davis. And Davis gets popped by Jay Feely, is right in the middle of the action. The kicker sticking his nose in there to help in on the tackle.
Now, you don't hear that a lot. The kicker sticking his nose in there. We got a story.
I don't think I've ever used that phrase before, but here he is. We wouldn't lie to you.
You're right. He did stick his nose in there and everything else he had.
He almost created a fumble here, too.
Yeah, he tried to get his head on the ball. Well, he can walk into that training room tomorrow proudly.
You know, if you're a coach, though, do you want to see your place kicker doing that?
Yeah, I don't care. And if we're Ray Guy, I would worry about, or George. Yeah, I probably would have.
From the 28-yard line, they give it to Cedric Benson, who vaults to nowhere.
I don't think that the Bear rush offense has vaulted to anywhere all night, have they? I don't think they have plus yardage.
No, they have 8 carries right now for 1 gross yard.
Yeah, and that's tough on the quarterback. You know, I've always said the best friend of a quarterback is a good running back or a good running game. Rex Grossman is feeling a lot of pressure to do well in this game. A lot of pressure being put on his shoulders by not having a running game.
8 carries, 1 net yard. An eighth of a yard per carry. They swing it out to Benson, and he loses the ball. I heard the whistle. They're going to say it's down. Now you've got one of those plays again with the new rule. If it's clearly recovered and you can tell on the recovery that the other team has it. Here comes Coughlin out onto the field.
Down before the ball came loose. 3rd down.
And now they're imploring some of the Giants to perhaps review it, but they want to take a look at it upstairs. Reggie Torbor is there. But it's pretty clear that he's down. So
yeah, he is down.
If Coughlin wanted to review it, he would probably lose the challenge.
But I'll tell you, the aggressiveness of this Giant defense, the way they're flying around, the way they're tackling is very, very impressive.
And again, minus 5 starters and some big-time starters. And Grossman throws, and that pass is incomplete. He had 2 receivers in the area, and Sam Madison going down and thinking, oh, man, I should have had that one.
Remember how bad the Giant defense looked early in the season? Remember that Seattle game? That's when they had all the flack. They looked like they didn't know who was going to cover who, and then they had to buy, and then they kind of simplified things with their defense. They had, you know, team meeting. Michael Strahan talked. They did all these things, and as a result, since that time, this defense has been playing outstanding.
Tale of 2 seasons. Brad Maynard was a Giant the last time they went to the Super Bowl in 2000. Line drive kick fielded at the 19-yard line. Chad Morton runs it back up to the 29-yard line. With 11 minutes and 44 seconds remaining in the half, Leon Joe just made that last hit. Giants have the ball and a 7-point lead. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and the New York Football Giants played there through the years. And Virginia McCaskey, the daughter of George Halas, goes to all the games, home and road. Mike McCaskey, of course, is the chairman of the board. Their team is down by 7 now. The ball is at the 29-yard line, and Tiki Barber will take it to the right side and pick up 9 yards up to the 37-yard line before the cornerback Nathan Vasher stops him. Moved in behind a Jim Finn block.
Yeah, we talk about Tiki Barber and the way he holds the ball now high and tight, and I think this is a pretty good example of it. I mean, he gets that ball in there, and it's high into his chest, and it's tight, and it's up by his, right up there. You see he's going to bring it right in darn near to his chin at the end. He keeps it in there so that there's no way that you can get the ball, especially from behind. By keeping it high and tight and in front, you can't come up from behind and knock it out.
2nd and 1. Barber. And this time he is stopped, and that's Urlacher, the defensive player of the year last season, making the tackle, showing no ill effects from the toe injury last week. We talked about Barber before. The beginning of his career, the first 7 seasons, 1 fumble every 41 touches, and then Tom Coughlin came here in 2004, and it's 1 every 124. In other words, he fumbles only about a third as often as he used to.
And Tom Coughlin was saying the other day that when he first came here and watched films of Tiki Barber, he said, that's one that I can fix easily.
And he did. 3rd and 2. I'm taking my car into town tomorrow. And that's a first down. Vicente Shanko, the tight end, up to the 42-yard line, tackled there by Lance Briggs. You know, you talk about a study in contrast. Coughlin is about as expressive as any coach in the league. I mean, you know, and intense. I mean, it's just, and he has been throughout his entire career. And then on the other side, Lovie Smith. And Lovie, of course, you know, grew up in the Tony Dungy regime at Tampa Bay and then went to St. Louis. And it's not that he's impassive, but that's about as agitated as he might get.
But he's a very, very good coach.
He's terrific. And that's caught up at the 50-yard line by Plexico Burress, and he will get a first down. Charles Tillman with the coverage.
Yeah, I think they got a little impatient early. I think they could do this stuff all day to Plexico Burress. You know, if they just throw in front of Tillman, and then they saw that because he's playing like he's pressing or playing tight, but then he's bailing out. So you get him when he's bailing out, then you just run him back, and then you hook right in front of him. I think they can do this all night.
First down across the 50 in Chicago territory with 9 minutes to the half. Barber taken down there. You know, the thing about Lovie Smith, Lovie was actually interviewed for the Giants job following the 2003 season. They let Jim Fossil go. They talked to Smith, and they were very impressed. I know John Mara was extremely impressed, Ernie Accorsi, and then Lovie wound up a couple of weeks later as the head coach of the Chicago Bears as Coughlin came here.
Right. I mean, it's interesting that the choice to be the Giant head coach after Jim Fossil was either Tom Coughlin or Lovie Smith. They chose Tom Coughlin, and then, of course, Lovie Smith went to the Bears.
2nd down and 10, 49-yard line. Manning stepping away from the heat, throws, and that pass is incomplete. Charles Tillman covering Plexico Burress. Crowd wants a flag. There is none.
You know, and they tried, every time they tried to go deep to Plexico Burress, Tillman has covered him well. Remember, they went deep up the field. Now, a crossing pattern to me is the same thing as deep, because that's the way you use your speed. One, you run up, and the other, you just run across the field. Here, he had to come under control a little too much. Now, what you do is you come under control as a wide receiver against a zone, and you run away from a man. That was man coverage, and he should have run away from that.
3rd down and 5, 3 wideouts, nickel coverage, which means Ricky Manning Jr. comes in as the 5th DB for Chicago, and he's having a great season. And that pass is dropped. That's Tyree over the middle, incomplete. Giants are forced to punt. Injury update from Andrea.
Well, we saw Luke Pettigrew limp into the locker room. They took x-rays. They just came out to the sideline and read them. He has a fractured left fibula. He is obviously out.
Wow, so it continues for the Giants, and that means we'll see Bob Whitfield, the longtime veteran, the 15-year veteran.
Again, Bob Whitfield played right tackle in last week's game and had a couple of rough spots in the game against Houston, but for the 80% of the game, he played very well.
Fiegels has been kicking away from Hester, but not this time. So Hester with 2 punt returns for touchdowns, each longer than 80 yards, is strung out and has no place to go. Good job by the Giants to force him out of bounds on the near side at the 12-yard line, with 7 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the opening half as they check out the Pettigrew x-rays. 10-3 Giants. Next Sunday on NBC, NASCAR season finale from South Florida. The Ford 400 that will determine the winner of the Nextel Cup. 5 drivers. There they are above the red line, still with a shot at the title. Jimmy Johnson in the lead. Second place finish today in Arizona. Kevin Harvick won today's race outside Phoenix. 7:55 remaining in the first half. Chicago backed up. They start this drive at their own 11-yard line. They have turned the ball over twice tonight. Lovie Smith saying, we're a great team if we don't turn the ball over. And those 2 turnovers have led to 10 Giants points. Thomas Jones carry for 2 here up to the 13.
You know, and everyone talked about this game, you know, how it's going to be a physical game, and he who wins in the line is going to win the game. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, that's Matthias Kiwanuka right there. But the defense of the Giants have really dominated. And specifically, the defensive line of the Giants.
Strahan reduced to the role of cheerleader. 2nd and 8 from the 13. Grossman throws, and that's juggled and not caught by McKee. Interesting thing thus far tonight, the 2 quarterbacks. Grossman telling us last night if he has a go-to guy, it's become the tight end Desmond Clark. He hasn't even thrown Clark's way tonight. And of course, on the Giants side, Jeremy Shockey hasn't caught a pass from Manning tonight.
Yeah, and Eli Manning said, you know, that Shockey's the guy you have to get involved in the game early, and he doesn't. He hasn't done that. But I'll tell you, to me, this game has been about the Bears not being able to run the ball and the Giants' aggressive defense going after him in everything they do.
5 receivers, and then they give the ball to the running back, and it's Jones, and he can go nowhere. So the Chicago Bears, who pretty much live and die with a ground game, as do a lot of teams, that's 10 carries tonight for 5 net yards on the ground.
You see Reggie Torbor made that tackle, and that's the way you're supposed to tackle. I mean, he just had his shoulder in there. He wrapped his arms around him and drove him back. And so he's one of those guys that, you know, as a backup guy, special teams guy, had to step up and play. He's one of the guys that is stepping up and playing very well.
3 and out, deep in their own territory, so the Giants should get the ball. Some fairly decent field position. But Brad Maynard with a tremendous kick, backing Morton all the way to the 32-yard line, and then Morton down the sideline. Chad Morton will take it inside the 25 before he's finally knocked down. So Maynard with a long kick, but a little too low. And the run back here sets the Giants up in pretty good shape. 52-yard boot, but a 37-yard return. They stop at the 31.
You see, he has this sideline here, and what he does, he dips to the right a little to get the Bear coverage team to go to the right a little, and then he comes back to the left and goes right up the boundary. See him come in there, hold those guys over there, and then bring it back up to the sideline. That was nice.
Anytime the punter makes the tackle, you know it's a long run back. 37 yards on the return. Manning with a short field now at the 31-yard line.
Right, and you'd think you'd go to Shockey here pretty soon, don't you?
You would. You'd have to think after his performance last week, they haven't gone to him tonight. They won't go to him here. They give the ball instead right up the middle to Barber. And Ogunlab makes the tackle. Jeremy Shockey, who last week had the 8 grabs. He's caught 31 this season, and he's caught 5 touchdown passes this year.
And I went to practice the other day, and they threw a lot to Sharpe. What they're doing now, they're splitting them out there on the left. You see, he's out here right now, coming in motion over here, so they're starting to move him around a little.
2nd down and 9. Manning looks the other way, throws. That's caught. Plexico Burris, and he gets inside the 20, and that'll be a 1st down. Urlacher blitzing that time, but Manning got it away, moves the chains.
And I think that Eli Manning knows that when he sees Urlacher coming, he knows that he has man coverage. So he knows when he gets man coverage, he wants to get to his outside receiver. And, of course, that's Plexico Burris right there. And Burris has been able to do that kind of move, that hook pattern, in front of Charles Tillman this whole half.
Now Burris gets a rest. The ball is at the 19-yard line. 1st down. Cuts it back, gain of 1. Tiki tonight has carried the ball 10 times for 50 yards.
You see what happened on that? They had Rich Seibert, again, the guard, playing tight end. And, you know, and that's good. It gives you an extra blocker. But if you looked at the Bear defense, that put 9 guys up there in the front. So, you know, it's tough to run against. I mean, you just look at, there's 9 Bears right here, I think, because of the extra guard there. And they just stack it up. I mean, there's no place to run. There's no place to cut back. There's no place to bounce out to.
2nd down and 9. 3 wide out, shotgun. Manning dancing away, throws, finds the open man. That's Burris, and then he loses the ball at the 5-yard line. He made the catch, and then it is Charles Tillman who comes away with it, and he loses the ball at the 13-yard line, and there's a flag down on the Tillman run back.
And that's a matchup we've been watching all night. Plexico Burris, Charles Tillman playing against him.
And the Giants eventually wind up with the football, but now let's see about the flag.
Plexico Burris pointing to himself, say that's me. And of course, once you catch the ball and fumble it, of course it is you.
Daniel Manning created the fumble.
Possession, holding, offense number 70. 10-yard penalty enforced in the previous spot. Repeat 2nd down.
After all that, it's simply a 10-yard penalty against the Giants. But let's go back and take a look at the pass to Burris. So the holding would have been negated here, and Chicago held on to the ball.
Yeah, they had to rule that was an incomplete pass, because if that was a complete pass and a fumble, then the ball would be from there, right? It would be the Giants' ball there, wouldn't it? And then the penalty would be from that spot.
Yeah, that's why the Bears are out there with Hockley right now discussing what it is, because it's one thing to have offensive holding before the change of possession. But let's get the.
Chicago is challenging the ruling. Chicago believes that the player's knee was down before the fumble, so the ball would be Chicago's ball, and the penalty would not be enforced.
Right, so what you have here, chronologically, holding against the Giants, which will be negated if Chicago winds up with the ball. Under the hood goes Hockley. We'll be back. All right, let's go through this chronologically here. The first thing that happens is you have holding against the Giants. You also have a fumble. Then the question becomes, did the Bears, when Tillman fumbled, was his knee down? And meanwhile, you can see how hard it's raining right now. If his knee is down, Chicago will get the ball. They'll wipe out the holding call. Left knee goes down. Snee comes in, and he is going to dislodge the ball. So this is what Hockley has to rule right now. Was he down with possession, which he appears to be, in which case, forget about the offensive holding. Chicago recovers the fumble. In the meantime, if his knee wasn't down, he fumbles the ball, and the Giants would recover. And then they would assess the penalty against the Giants. But it's a big call here for the Giants in as much as it's possession or Chicago's possession.
The ruling on the field stands as called. The holding penalty will be enforced. It's New York's ball, second down. Chicago is charged with their first timeout.
So what Hockey League is ruling here is that before Tillman's knee was down, the ball was coming out. Here's the whole essence of the play right now. This is about as close as it gets. Left knee down, ball's coming out, and he's going to rule that his knee wasn't down. His knee is clearly down. The question is, does he have possession? It appears he does, but Snee is ripping it loose. And the penalty gets assessed from the previous spot. So after all that, it's 2nd and 19, and it's pouring. Apart from that, there's not a lot going on here tonight.
Right, and that was a funny coverage because, you know, we said Charles Tillman was out there. He was on Plexico Burress, but Burress ran an end, and Tillman just let him go.
And just to button it up, the Bears lose a timeout because of the challenge. Now Barber takes it to the 20-yard line, tackled there by Lance Briggs. So in effect, the Chicago Bears, who've already turned the ball over twice tonight, you'd have to think, well, you'd have to count that as a turnover as well, because they had the ball after the Giants had turned it over. Doesn't go in there officially because of the holding call, but they had an opportunity to take the ball away, and they couldn't.
You know, one thing Tom Coughlin was talking about the other day, and I think is so true, is when you have a guy like Tiki Barber, you don't want to get away from the run. And sometimes you start passing and you forget to go back to the run. And I think that was a good call on that second down to go back to the run.
Now it's 3rd and 12, and here's the run again. And that is big number 99, Tank Johnson, who comes in like his name for a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, that's a tough part of that Bear defense. You know, Tommy Harris, Tank Johnson, and Brian Urlacher. And not only are they tough to block, but they do get penetration. And that's what hurts. You see, the Giants like to pull their linemen. And what the Bears do as they pull their linemen, they just get right in behind them, which creates penetration.
And that creates a 40-yard field goal attempt by Feely, who missed from 33 and then made from 46. His one make was in this direction. And so was his second. 2:21 remaining in the first half. And the Giants extend their lead to 13-3.
So let it go for the moment. Let your worries drift away, 'cause here we're living for today. Let's go out back tonight.
Let go of the day. Go out back tonight, where fresh salmon is grilled moist and tender, and the steaks are thick and juicy. Your only worry is which to choose.
Let's go out back tonight.
Tonight, let go.
Life will still be there tomorrow.
Go out back.
Next Sunday night, an AFC West showdown with first place on the line. The San Diego Chargers, the Denver Broncos. Every game counts, but only one night matters. NBC Sunday Night Football.
And you've heard about the flexible schedule, and there's a prime example right there. San Diego and Denver both winning today, battling it out in the AFC West at Invesco Field at Mile High a week from tonight. Raining as hard as it has all game long right now, as the kickoff is fielded at the 9-yard line by Rashid Davis. And he'll run Feely's kick back to the 25-yard line. And now Rex Grossman will try to get something going before the end of the first half. That Giant defense, despite missing Strahan and Umanura and Short and Arrington and Emmons tonight, first 3 games they give up 30.7 points per game. Then they had the bye week, and since then, look at that, 10.4 tonight, only 3 points. And tonight the Chicago Bears have a total of 46 yards in the first almost 28 minutes of the game. The ball is at the 26-yard line. Grossman dancing away, throws, and it's Bradley making the catch up to the 32-yard line. Mark Bradley, who'd been inactive last year, became a starter but was injured, wound up missing the rest of the season, sprained his ankle earlier, but sees action here tonight with Berrien gone. 2-minute warning at the Meadowlands.
Football fans have become too reliant on one sign. So what'd we come up with?
Luck.
Sure, left. I propose you use nickel when you need 5 defensive backs, or dime when you need 6.
But I think it's about time we show a little love to offense. Offense! Let's issue a continuance on the defense and give the offense a tryout this season.
For great taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite.
Over to 30 Rock shortly. Toyota halftime show. Bob, Chris Sterling in the bus. Fill you in on everything that happened today. Phillip Rivers. Big day for San Diego. Brett Favre getting some advice from his coach. Coming up on the Toyota halftime report. Meanwhile, Chicago down by 10. Screen here. Thomas Jones. And Jones gets up to the 40-yard line. And that will be a first down. Broke out of a Will Demp's tackle. Chicago has 2 timeouts left.
I'm just so impressed with this Giant defense in the first half. It just seems like they've really taken the fight to the Bears, but I feel that way about their offense too, that it doesn't look like the Bears on either side of the ball have a lot of emotion.
They don't, and meanwhile the Giants, despite those injuries, and then that we had an injury timeout here just for the moment. That was Antonio Pierce, who appears to be fine, but when the whistle sounds for an injury, you have to come out for at least one play, and there goes the middle linebacker, at least for this next play, which will be a 1st and 10. And since we're inside 2 minutes, they will lose a timeout as well.
Right, Antonio Pierce is the middle linebacker, and Tom Coughlin was saying that he's kind of the glue that right now holds this whole defense together.
Chase Blackburn comes in at the middle backer spot, 1st down and 10. Grossman has to pull it down, and that's the first time tonight he goes to the guy last night he was telling us is becoming his go-to guy, the tight end Desmond Clark, and it's incomplete.
I think the way the Giants are getting after him, especially on 1st and 2nd down, then they create these long yardage situations, and it just seems like the Bear offense and Rex Grossman are really not made for long yardage situations.
No, that's becoming more and more evident. I think with Pierce, it was not so much he was hurt as he had so much grass inside of that visor. So he came out, clears that up. He comes back in. 2nd down and 10 now, even though that visor is foggy.
He can't see a thing.
And there's a flag. He can re-wipe it again.
And he's trying to clean it out right now. But they say middle linebackers have to play on instinct. When your visor gets like that, you really have to.
Number 76, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's John Tate, the left tackle.
Yeah, now he has a clean. Now he can see, okay. 2nd down, let's go play.
There it was before.
He couldn't see out of that left eye at all. He couldn't even find the hook to put the strap on.
2nd down and 15. Grossman again. Chicago has not used the shotgun until tonight. And you've got a whistle again before the snap.
False start offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So you've got the left tackle Tate first, then the right tackle Miller second, and it's 2nd down and 20.
We were talking to Rex Grossman last night about the shotgun, and to be honest, he really doesn't like it. And I said, well, how did it get in? And he said, I think the lineman got it in. I think the lineman wanted it. Obviously, Fred Miller didn't want it when he jumped offside. I think Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, Lovie Smith, put it in to maybe help Grossman see the coverage and pre-read the defense being back a little.
This crowd right now in full throat because this defense has done a masterful job in this first half, and Jones will go nowhere. And John, there's no question the story of this first half, the Giant defense, everybody going, oh no, what are we going to do? Strahan's gone. Umanura's gone. We don't know if Madison will play or not. Arrington's gone for the season. Short's out. Emmons is out. There's Michael Strahan. And all they've done is limit the Chicago Bears to 57 total yards in 27 plays. There is O.C. Umanura. You know, we talked to Tom Coughlin the other day. It almost seems heartless, but I guess if you're a coach, you can only give so much love to your injured guys. You know, you gotta, he said, look, with all due respect, they're not playing. I have to deal with the guys who are playing.
You know, and you do, and I know that as a coach. You know, an injured player will say, well, when I get hurt, no one talks to me. Well, if you talk to the guy, all you say is, how you doing? How's your leg? You know, and then, you know, I'm tired of asking me how I am. So usually the things that you talk to a player about are the game. You know, okay, we have to do this. If they play off, we want to go here. You know, blitz, we want to slide, and those things. And if the guy's not playing, you don't have anything to talk to him about.
3rd and 22, and they run a draw, and that's the biggest run of the night for Chicago. On a 3rd and 22, it's a first down. He stays in bounds, does Jones, at the 46, so the clock keeps going. Chicago has 2 timeouts. That's a 26-yard gallop for the older brother of the Cowboys, Julius Jones.
Right, and they just had to get something going to get him out of the sleepwalk.
And that was it. And now Bradley makes the catch, but he can't get out of bounds. He's tackled at the 39, but the clock will stop on a flag.
Illegal shift. Offense number 87 never got set.
That's Muhsin Mohammed. So that wipes out the play.
Yeah, and that should never happen. I mean, Muhsin Mohammed is out there on the right, and the play is going to be a draw play inside or to the left, and there's no reason for the wide receiver not to get set. There's no reason.
So 1st and 15 now at the 49-yard line. Bears need something offensively before the half. Down by 10. Grossman's thrown, trips to the right. Grossman's thrown for only 56 yards. He throws underneath for Bradley, and that wouldn't have gone anywhere to begin with, as Antonio Pierce is there.
You know, don't you feel, you know, I've said this before, but the Giant defense is really bringing the lumber. I mean, it's not only that they get a guy there or they cover a guy, but they're whacking them with everything they got.
Well, what's frightening for the opponents, and of course is exhilarating for Giants fans, is to think about how they're playing minus all those guys.
Right, and you know, and Giants fans, and I've said this for years, really understand, appreciate, and applaud defense.
And you hear that throaty New York roar right now on 2nd and 15. And Grossman finds the open man, and that's Muhsin Mohammed. And he has a first down at the 30-yard line. Tackled there by Butler. And now Chicago with 2 timeouts, and they will take the first of those 2 remaining. 20-yard gain.
Yeah, that's why you always want to save your timeouts, because you can still throw the ball into the middle of the field then. Here's Mohammed. He knows that he's going to get a zone in here, so he just comes in, comes under control, finds that hole, and Grossman finds him. Grossman throws a pretty good ball there. I mean, you know, you have to grip it, I think, a little tighter, you know, in the rain when it gets wet, because you have to get a good spin on it, and Rex Grossman did on that pass.
Chicago showing its first offensive life of the half. At 3rd and 22, that run by Jones. If Chicago turns it around, of course, that's the play you'll go back to talk about as a turning point. They can only hope right now. First things first, though, as at least they try to get within 7. Field goal at worst. They're already in field goal range here. The ball is at the 29-yard line. You've got Grossman going deep down the left side, and Bradley got free and gets it for the touchdown. Bradley got behind Sam Madison. Madison lost him. Bradley got into the corner, and it's a 29-yard touchdown pass, the first career touchdown pass for Mark Bradley, their number 2 draft choice last year out of Oklahoma.
Right, Sam Madison, number 22, the corner, came in with a pulled hamstring, and I think he may have pulled his hamstring on that play. He was no match at all for Bradley.
Madison was going to be a game-time decision, slick field and all of that. Bradley got behind him, and Chicago tries to tack on the extra point, which Gold does. So that changes the entire complexion of the game. Chicago had done nothing until inside the 2-minute warning, and that Jones 26-yard run culminated by this catch by Bradley as Madison pulls up Gimpy.
Yeah, you see him as he went to turn. He was beaten anyway. I mean, he was beaten, but he pulls a hamstring after. But here's what made it possible. They've been having trouble with their protection. But here they gave Rex Grossman time that he could step up, he could look, he even pumped once, and then got that ball out there to Bradley. Could have let him out a little more, but you see Sam Madison, when he went to turn, he couldn't run.
This was a 3rd down and 22. They run a draw to Jones. They had nothing going in the rushing department tonight until then. And of course, then you had a pass to Muhammad down to about the 30-yard line. And Madison will go limping back into the locker room. Bradley gets into the end zone, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game.
That's why it's very difficult for a defensive back, especially a corner, to play this game with a hamstring when he's not 100%, because there comes that point he has to react, and then when his reaction is a quick reaction, the thing is going to pull again.
35 ticks left. Giants have 1 timeout. You got Derek Ward back to receive the Robbie Gould kick. Bears just went 74 yards in a minute and 46 seconds. 7 passes, 1 run. Fielded 10-yard line. Then Ward loses the ball and makes sure just to cover it up, and you have a flag coming in at the end. 2 of them, in fact, at the 22-yard line.
Isn't it something, Al, when you dominate and you have everything going defensively and you're playing well and you're doing all those things, you have to score points. You can't let that other team sit in there.
Down, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the kicking team. Number 44, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Cameron Worrell, hopeful of recovering the fumble after the kickoff return was muffed, and he came in with a late hit at the end, and that's going to give the Giants an opportunity to at least try to work the ball into field goal position.
Both he and the official are smiling about it, but didn't you feel that the Giants had dominated the whole half? I mean,
no
they've been there, and that's 13-3. I mean, 13-10.
I mean, yeah, it looks like it's 13-3. You have all the injuries, but the defense is dominating. I mean, they look like the old Bears defense until that last series. 1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Draw, Barber. He takes it up to the 43-yard line. Giants have 1 timeout. And the crowd is not appreciative of the fact they're just going to let the clock run out. The crowd felt at least the Giants should have attempted to get into field goal range, but Coughlin will settle for a 3-point halftime lead. The Giants on top by a score of 13-10. And now through the Lincoln Tunnel we go to Bob Costas and the Toyota halftime show. Bob.
And seldom has anyone ever made it through the Lincoln Tunnel from New Jersey to Manhattan this quickly, Al. Happy birthday to you, Mr. Michaels, by the way. And coming up on the Toyota halftime show, we'll talk about that wild game in Cincy between the Bengals and Chargers. We'll talk about the Colts, who struggled a bit today but are now 9-0. And Peter King will check in with some news on Brett Favre, all ahead at halftime with Chris, Jerome, and Sterling.
Code. Welcome to the Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota, moving forward.
Okay, no doubt the game of the day was in Cincinnati, where the Chargers beat the Bengals 49-41. We have come to take the greatness of LaDainian Tomlinson for granted. 4 touchdowns, over 100 yards rushing. But a big, big story from the now 7-2 Chargers is the continued maturation of Phillip Rivers, the young quarterback.
San Diego was down 28-7 at the half in Cincinnati. Game over, right, Bus? Wrong. You're playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Phillip Rivers was simply incredible on the day and drove the Chargers to 42 second-half points. And the Chargers come all the way back and win it against the Cincinnati Bengals. What a day for Phillip Rivers.
And here is the final accounting for Rivers. And after the game, he talked about what he and his teammates were thinking at halftime, down 28-7 on the road.
We looked up, and I was kind of in disbelief. It was 21-0 all of a sudden, and you come in at halftime, and you never lost hope, but you're kind of like, is it really? Are we really down 21? And we came in and said, look, we're fixing to throw it every down, mix in the run when we get close to the red zone, because we felt like against their red zone defense we could run the ball, and that's just what we did.
Plus, there's a new star in the National Football League, and his name's Phillip Rivers.
He's a star, but he's the second star on that football team. He said it himself. They had to run the football, and that means LaDainian Tomlinson, he's the MVP of that football team. I would even vote for him as the MVP of the league right now, the way he's playing. When he gets off the bus, he's the #1 option, and Phillip Rivers benefits from his play.
He was pretty good today. He was pretty good. Yeah,
he was good today. I admit that.
Yeah. All right, so next week, the Chargers at 7-2 with statistically the league's best offense are at Denver, also 7-2. Big battle in the AFC West. Statistically, the Broncos have the league's best defense. You'll see that next Sunday night on NBC. Meanwhile, here are the Colts at 9-0, but they are winning their games by an average of less than a touchdown, and today they squeaked by. They had only a 1-point lead when Ryan Lindell, who is normally very accurate, missed for only the second time all year. About midway through the fourth quarter, Buffalo could have taken the lead. The Colts win it. This is what remains on their schedule. Only 3 teams with winning records of the remaining 7. Can they run the table, Sterling?
I think not only can they must run the table, Bob, for the simple fact we've seen this football team in this situation before last season. And remember, when they started to rest people, if they got to 13-0, they weren't sharp, they weren't on edge, and they went into the playoffs very, very flat. I think this football team understands this. When you talk to Tony Dungy, he understands that when we're undefeated, we're going to get everybody's best, which means we have to show up, and we don't have to play our best. The only stat he cares about is that we have more points when they do, when the gun goes off. And so far, that's exactly what the Colts have done.
They should understand one more thing, that they are at best a 500 football team if they don't have Peyton Manning. He is the superstar, and that's about it.
I'll give you that.
And they have now won 31 of their last 34 regular season games, but so far no trip yet to the Super Bowl. Okay, Packers coach Mike McCarthy made some big statements about Brett Favre's future today. We'll talk about them when we return in less than a minute. And the results of our Player of the Day vote on NBCSports.com are in. All the nominees came from the Chargers-Bengals game, and the winning quarterback in that contest, Phillip Rivers, takes the hard-earned Golden Peacock. All right, Brett Favre now has the Packers at least alive at 4-5. They won today at Minnesota 23-17, and Favre threw for 2 touchdowns and did not throw an interception. This one was of the short variety, Noah Herron for 5 yards and a touchdown, and this one was of the longer variety, an 82-yard catch and run to Donald Driver. 2 TDs today gives Favre 409 lifetime, 11 behind the all-time record held by Dan Marino. You can see he still has the excitement and enthusiasm, and the numbers aren't all that bad at all. 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and completing about 58% of his throws. As we welcome back Peter King from Sports Illustrated, you've got some news on Brett.
Well, Bob, after the game, I talked to Mike McCarthy, the coach of the Packers, and one of the things he told me is, and it was interesting to see that tape, because he said, look, one of the things an older quarterback loses is his movement skill. And after this game, he said, listen, he can still move, he can still run around, and he's still an accurate thrower. And he said, look, I would like to see Brett not only play 1 more year, I think he can play 2 more years at a very high level. So Favre, who says he's not going to talk about this till after the season, has his coach in his corner who wants him to play through 2008.
What do you think about that?
I can't believe we're talking about Brett Favre retiring again. We do this every year. And you guys know, if you try to get inside the mind of Brett Favre, you have a conversation, he changes his mind 10 times in every conversation. It's like...
He doesn't know what he wants to do.
He doesn't know, so how do we know? We don't know.
I think as long as he can continue to play like he did in the Metrodome, he definitely should come back.
I'm with you.
You know what? It's obvious they don't believe in the former #1 draft choice Aaron Rodgers, though. Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking like this. We're back to Al and John for the second half in a moment. Enjoy it, everybody. See you next week.
This has been the Toyota Halftime Show, brought to you by Toyota. Moving forward.
Second half team is a team that's willing to finish, willing to take advantage of the time they have now.
what they do it really well. They play fast with great energy and speed. So I think anything you get, you have to earn it.
You know, we think we're the best. I'm sure they think they're the best.
This is the first real challenge, I'll say, with a team that, you know, everybody expected to be the top team, and for us to kind of prove our point that we're one of the top teams as well.
We tend to gain momentum as the game goes on. We get stronger as the game goes on.
We're relentless. We get 11 guys to the football every play. If you're not going to run, you're not going to play on this defense. That's what it comes down to.
Sunday Night Football, another opportunity to show, you know, where we're at, show the league, and show America where we're at right now.
Where we are right now, Giants 13, Chicago 10. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kremer. Story for the Giants coming into the game, the guys who are out. Toomer, the wideout, gone for the year, knee injury. Arrington, torn Achilles. Shorts missed 4 games. Tonight's the 3rd game. Emmons has missed. Madison missed 2, played tonight, but he limped off at the end of the half. Umanura and Strahan are both gone. Burris has come back. So it's a mess, but the Giants still, up until the last 2 minutes of the first half, dominant defensively, but the Bears get right back in the game. 3-point differential at the half, and Rasheed Davis begins the second half by getting knocked out of bounds by the kicker, Jay Feely, up near the 40-yard line. We check in with Andrea.
Well, Lovie Smith told me that on the touchdown drive at the end of the half that it gave them momentum and allows them to stick with their game plan as opposed to having to make radical changes. He said it's a whole new ball game. It's even now. As for Tom Coughlin came out of the locker room aggressive, and that's what he told his team they have to be. Aggressive running the ball, passing the ball. Starting left tackle Luke Pettigrew, as we told you, fractured fibula. He's out. Cornerback Sam Madison, he re-aggravated the hamstring. He, too, is out for the game.
So Madison is gone here defensively, and the Bears begin this drive with Muhammad making the catch over the middle, much as he did at the end of the first half on a big play, and that's a first down at the 45 of the Giants, 20 yards for the Bears.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was a good halftime adjustment. Is at the end of the second quarter, they found that they could put Muhammad out there, and there were some big holes in the middle of that Giant defense that they could get Muhsin Muhammad into.
At the 45-yard line, first down. Now Jones, that huge run. And I say, as I said, if the Bears win the game, that was the game turner on that 3rd and 22. Picks up 5. Some numbers now through the first half. The Bears, of course, most of that offense coming on that last drive. Those 2 Bear turnovers leading to all 10, or 10 of the 13 Giants points.
Yeah, and that last scoring drive, I think, as Lovie Smith told Andrea, that was a big momentum change for this Bear team.
Second down and 5 now at the 40-yard line. Jones, and all of a sudden there are holes in the middle of that Giant defense as he takes the ball to the 29-yard line, and that'll move the chains again. First down.
I think Lovie Smith talked about momentum. He also talked to this offensive line that let's get control of that defensive front, and they're doing it right there. They get a lead, and Jones just breaks right off the lead and goes to the backside. See, he starts in there, and then he just cuts right to the backside.
At the 29-yard line. First down, action up front. Fred Robbins coming across the line. Ed Hockley with the best biceps in officialdom. Not happy about having to do this in cold weather.
Defense, number 98. First down.
That's Robbins. Ed Hockley, of course, works out like a maniac. Loves to show off the biceps. Only wishes he could do a primetime game in a dome, though, in November.
Yeah, he probably does. But I'll also say this about Ed Hockley. He's probably the best referee in the NFL. I mean, I used to feel that way about Jim Tunney, that when he refereed the game, you felt it was under control. When Ed Hockley referees the game, you feel it's under control.
Very much so. First and 5 at the 24-yard line. Grossman stepping away, and then that pass at the feet of Muhammad. He saw nothing downfield, and it will be second down and 5.
Grossman has that look, and you wonder, where in the heck did that come from? How did that come out of my hand, and I got it halfway there? That's the old thing, you know, that pitch that you throw 45 feet. That's a pass that he threw 45 feet. That wasn't even close to being a completion. So maybe you could put that in the category, well, I was just throwing it away.
2nd down and 5. Now Jones, tried to turn back, and Antonio Pierce was in his face.
You know, Pierce had to make that play because, you know, they were, you know, you're talking about momentum, and they had it, and they were starting to get that running game going. Thomas Jones was running, and here's Antonio Pierce here, and he's going to put a stop to it. And the thing is you can read something and wait for it, or you can read something and go to it right now. And that's what Antonio Pierce did.
3rd and 6. If they don't get a yard on this play, you would be looking at about a 44-yard Robbie Gould field goal attempt to tie the game.
Yeah, nickel in the first half, they blitz from this all the time. Here they are again.
They come again. The pass is caught outside the 10, but then it's fumbled by Muhammad. And the Giants are all over it at the 1-yard line, and they recover. Corey Webster created the fumble. Muhammad looking for the end zone, made the catch, got inside the 5, puts it on the ground, and Chicago has just turned the ball over for the 3rd time in the game.
Right, and Chicago made good adjustments because I said earlier they were getting in that nickel in the first half and blitzing. The Bears couldn't handle it. Now they handle it, complete the pass, and fumble it.
Recovered by Devs.
Next Sunday night, a battle for first place in the AFC West. LT and the Chargers. Champ Bailey and the Broncos. Every game counts, but only one night matters. NBC's Sunday Night Football.
That's the game next Sunday night here on NBC. Muhsin Muhammad, 8 years at Carolina, 2nd year with the Bears. His first fumble since joining Chicago.
That's Corey Webster there. He has a man-to-man. He plays that poorly, knows that, so he has to do something about it, and he does. He strips it out of Muhammad's hands.
Now the Giants at the 2-yard line. Will either be 1st and 11 or 1st and 5.
False start. Offense, number 10. Half the distance to the goal. Still 1st down.
1st and 11. Bears have turned the ball over 3 times. 6 turnovers last week. 6 turnovers in Arizona.
You know what happened on that one, Al? Eli Manning, watch him. He'll start to pull out before the ball snap. You see him start to move there.
Yep.
He dropped that right foot. That's just enough.
So now backed up inside the 1. 1st down and 11. And then they'll throw it out of the end zone, and it is batted down. So that'll make it 2nd down. And John, through the years, it's easier to throw it out of the end zone in this situation than to try to run it and risk the safety.
Yeah, and you know that's the thing that you try and do, and you try and take that play that, you know, they have 2 tight ends in there. They had Seibert in there. Think that they have one-on-one on the outside, and Eli Manning is just looking there all the way, and he gets the ball knocked down.
2nd down and 11. Ian Scott was the guy who got his hand on it. Now you've got a fullback Finn in there. You got Shockey backing up. He'll go in motion. Barber is the tailback. Tiki will try to run it out of the end zone. And boy, that's why, you know, I mean, it just
you're right.
So much easier. The Bears think they have a safety, but he did get it beyond the goal line. But it's almost tougher to get it out of the end zone in that situation running as it is to get it into the end zone when you're inside the other team's 1-yard line.
You know, and as good as Tiki Barber is, since he hurt his hand in this game, I don't feel that he's been running the same way. I mean, he looks like he's a little tentative going in there. He's really not whamming that thing in there. And he usually, you know, I mean, he's not a big, powerful runner anyway, but he makes, you know, strong and quick cuts. And I don't think since he hurt that thumb that he's been running the same way.
If nothing else, they need at least a little bit of room if they're going to punt. Because if they throw here and it's incomplete, you got Fiegels 10 yards behind the center. And Manning will throw, and he will not get that luxury unless there's a flag, and there is none. It is Burris who gets contacted as the ball got there by Tillman. So Tillman would have to be considered like perfect coverage now because there was no flag.
Well, he knows. Remember earlier we saw him getting up and then bailing out. This time he gets up on Burris and he presses him and he throws the timing off.
And now you've got a short snap and a real fast kick.
Yeah, you try and get the ball out to the 5-yard line because the punter is usually 15 yards behind the center.
In this case, he's 10. He's right on the back line. The snap, Fiegel's kick, not bad. End over end, a liner. Hester fields it at the 40-yard line and then spins around, and the Giants' coverage is great. And that's big. Because if nothing else, if Hester had come straight forward, he probably would have gotten down to the 30-yard line. But he looked for the big return there. The Bears have it in Giants territory. New York by 3. Rex Grossman now in his 4th season, started at the end of his rookie year and tore up his knee early in his 2nd year. Broke his ankle in training camp last year. He stayed healthy this year. His team down by 3 from the 43. It's Jones to the short side of the field. Wilson is right there with him to hurt him out of bounds after a gain of 1.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that this is a game of 2 young quarterbacks playing like 2 young quarterbacks, and I think that, you know, they have to get the running game going and start to get the ball to tight end. I mean, I think both sides have to do that.
Each quarterback connecting at 50%. Kurtz snapping it to Grossman. Buying time. Sent all the way back. Gets it off to Jones. And Jones turns what would have been a pretty good sized loss with a flag down into, for the moment, about a 5-yard gain. But you had William Joseph coming in and had his hand on Grossman as Rex was able to get rid of the ball.
Isn't it something how stupid can turn to smart quickly?
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 94. Takes quarterback to the ground.
I mean, here's Rex Grossman. He's running backwards. He's doing everything that you shouldn't do. He throws the ball, and then he gets it away. I mean, here you say, okay, there's nothing there. You're getting pushed. Now just throw the ball away. Take your loss. He throws it. Instead of throwing it away, he throws it to Thomas Jones, who makes a big play out of it, and then he gets a roughing penalty.
Yep.
Tom Coughlin saying, what the heck is going on?
And the end and net result is a first down for the Chicago Bears at the 22-yard line.
Yeah, maybe Rex Grossman was trying to throw that away, and he just completed it to Thomas Jones.
Pump fake. Left corner, flag down. You got McQuarters is the corner on that side covering Mohammed. Madison went off earlier at the end of the first half after Bradley had gotten free on the left side.
The pass was thrown, illegal contact defense. Number 25. It's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. The pass was uncatchable because the illegal contact foul occurs before the pass.
Oculi is so strong from lifting those weights, he knocked his mic out. But here's a replay. I mean, here's McQuarters here, and you're going to see him bump right there. So that's the penalty part. I think Muhammad was trying to run an out and up on that because Grossman pumped to him in the out, and I think it was going to be an up.
And we heard every other word, but the bottom line was it was an uncatchable ball unless no flag. And now it is Jones taking the ball to the 12-yard line. And Chicago absolutely dormant on the ground through the first 20 minutes of the game. All of a sudden, they have found a running game.
You know, and again, they found it right before the end of the half on that draw play to Jones. I think that was a thing that got him started because I feel that I felt at the time there wasn't much emotion in this team, and that kind of gave them a certain life that they've carried into this quarter.
Play of the game for Chicago to this point. There goes Jones, and Jones gets into the end zone for a touchdown. He followed a Jason McKee block. The fullback led the way. There's a flag down at the 2-yard line.
Holding, offense number 85. 10-yard penalty enforcing the spot of the foul. Repeat second down.
Reprieve for the Giants. That's the tight end John Gilmore holding.
And this is a short yardage to 2 tight ends, and you're going to see it right here, right in front of the umpire. He not only held him, he darn near choked him. He grabbed him right around the neck. And again, you know, sometimes you get away with that stuff, but the umpire's a guy right behind the defensive line, and Gilmore did it right in front of him.
Couldn't miss that one. Will Dents was the victim. Gilmore comes off the field. It is 2nd down now. At the 14-yard line. On 2nd and 7, this is Jones taking it to the 10-yard line. Upcoming is a 3rd and 3. Reggie Torbor makes the stop.
Yeah, this Bear offensive line is doing a heck of a lot better job at the end of the 2nd quarter and here into the 3rd quarter. You know, in the for most of the first half, that Giant front really dominated this Bear front, and I feel that there's been a reversal. That the Bear offensive line is now handling this Giant defense.
Bears have now outrushed the Giants 57-55. They spread it out here. Giants in the nickel. 3rd down and 3 for Chicago from the 10. And Grossman throws. That's a 1st down and a touchdown. Muhsin Muhammad gets into the end zone. He fumbled earlier at the 2. They got the ball back after pinning the Giants deep and cash in off the short field for their first lead of the game.
You know, when you get down this close, you have to play tighter. I think the Giants just gave Muhammad way too much room here. And he was able just to run up there, turn around, catch the ball, and go into the end zone. I mean, you have to get up tight on him. You have to bump him. You have to reroute him. You have to do something, but you can't let him do that.
Corey Webster was the man who was on him. Gold's extra point is good. So the Giants, not that long ago, were leading by 10. And now it's the Bears by 4 with 8:20 to play in the 3rd. NBC's Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Wendy's. Get in the middle of flavor. Do Wendy's new double melt and do what tastes right. Temperature was 50 at the start of the game, now into the upper 40s. Bears have the lead. Robbie Gould's kick into the arms of Derek Ward at the 4-yard line. He gets out to the 39-yard line. So the Giants will play from behind for the first time in the game. Manning going back to work. Chicago up 17-13.
Nobody.
Who is it?
Does it.
007.
Better.
Bond.
Bond.
You noticed. You mind if I join you?
Welcome, Mr. Bond.
Bond? What the hell are you up to?
This Friday, Bond is back. Casino Royale, rated PG-13.
Sunday Night Football brought to you by Sprint. Be a better fan with NFL Mobile only from Sprint. Power Up. By Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. And by MasterCard, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. John, you take the vegetables, I'll take the pasta. And the chicken. That was pretty good. Little Italy.
I may take the vegetables and arm wrestling for the other stuff too.
From the 29, Barber puts the ball on the ground and recovers it, and he has just not, since he had that thumb wrap, been the same guy. He had 40 yards on his first 3 carries. He now has 14 yards on his last 11 carries, and uncharacteristically put that one on the ground.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think that a thumb injury would bother you like that, but he's just not running. I mean, he just doesn't look like the same guy, and I think that they have to do something about that. I mean, the Giants have to do 2 things. I think 1, they have to get the ball to Shockey, and 2, they have to be able to run.
Haven't even thrown to Shockey tonight. 2nd and 10, and there's a flag. Manning loses the ball. The Bears are going to wind up with it. Alex Brown creates the fumble, but it all depends on the penalty.
Alex Brown over the years has kind of raised havoc with the Giants.
Last time these two teams met in 2004, Brown had 4 sacks of Kurt Warner. Now, for the moment, you've got Chicago coming up with the ball. But what about the penalty?
Remember, Bob Whitfield is your left tackle there, and he's taking Luke Pettigew's place. And you see that Whitfield gets up there. In fact, he had his arm around his neck, and he still beat him.
That penalty is declined. Chicago's ball, first down.
And the hold was on Whitfield. But Gunlayat recovered it. And so a turnover for the Giants, their second.
I mean, the thing about Alex Brown on that play is he just kept working. You know, here Whitfield has him around the neck, but he just lowered that shoulder and just kept going to get to Eli Manning.
At the 21-yard line. A sea change in this game from inside 2 minutes of the first half on. Jones to the outside, and he gets ridden out of bounds, and then he shoves Webster down after they're both out of bounds.
Corey Webster's had a tough time over there, first of all with Musa Muhammad, and then on the run. And I think that, I mean, if I were the Bears, I think I would get Muhammad out there on that right side and go back on Corey Webster, because he's kind of playing in no man's land. I mean, he's not up there and pressing, and he's not way back. He's kind of in between where you can do just about anything to him.
Muhammad beat him for his touchdown to give Chicago the lead. Under 7 to go in the third. Second down and 8 from the 19-yard line. 4-man rush. Grossman gets it over to Bradley, and he gets taken down by McQuarters about 1.5 yards short of the first down. 3rd and 2, we'll call it, coming up for Chicago.
You know, Mark Bradley was going to be the deep guy. You know, we talked about Bernard Berrian and how they lost him, and then they got Mark Bradley back, and they thought that, you know, if they needed that big pass, that deep pass, he would be that guy. Now, you know, they don't need that kind of pass right here. They just need a control pass to pick up the first down, about a 5-yarder here.
Crowd exhorting and imploring the Giants to hold into a field goal attempt here. Jones takes the toss on 3rd and 2. He gets the first down, and he gets to the 2-yard line. So Thomas Jones completely held in check in the first half up until that huge run on the 3rd and 22 that has turned the game around. 1st and goal here.
You know, I was talking to Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, last night about this, and he said that, you know, that you have to stay with the run. He said, you know, sometimes you start passing and you forget about the run. I thought maybe they did a little of that in the first half, but they've come back now. I mean, they got it at the end of the half. They got that draw, and now they have good mixture of run and pass.
Go to John Tate, the left tackle, who smothered Will Demps on the play. The fake to Jones. Grossman to the end zone. Touchdown to Desmond Clark. We talked about him in the first half as his new go-to guy. Well, it's the first time in the game he's gone to him.
Hey, that was a good play-action pass. I was impressed with Rex Grossman here. Watch how quickly he comes out of the play fake. You see how he just makes it, and then he's going to come back here, and he straightens up, and he gets that ball to Desmond Clark. Because you can't keep your head turned away from the defense and your receiver. So you have to fake that ball and then get your head snapped around.
Giant Stadium is silent. Gold's extra point is good. The Chicago Bears have run off 21 unanswered points. 5.5 left in the third. Bears by 11. Chicago Bears tonight, no running game at all, 0.5 yard per tote for their first 10 rushes. And then Jones with the game-turning play on that 3rd and 22 to lead the way to the Chicago touchdown before the half. They've added 2 scores here in the second half, and all of a sudden Chicago is up by 11.
And now, you know, it's been a tough night for Eli Manning here, and with that score, it's going to be even tougher because the Bears are going to come heavy pass rush now.
Gold's kick. Derek Ward going to kick back for the Giants against Washington for a touchdown in 04 up to the 31-yard line. The score was 13-3 near the end of the first half. 3rd and 22. The Giant defense had been dominant. Then you had this draw, this inside give to Thomas Jones. That was a 26-yard carry. Muhammad caught a pass over the middle. Madison then got lame covering with that hamstring pull on the coverage of Bradley, who got free for the touchdown. It was a 3-point game at the half, 2 touchdowns here in the second half, and the Giants with an uphill battle now down by 11. Manning throws and throws it behind David Tyree. You know, John, we were talking about Manning, you and I, over the past couple of days, and you know how he's progressed, and with all this stuff going on with the Giants this year, you know, Barber retiring and having a phenomenal year, and you know, all of the injuries, you forgot about Eli, and it looked like he was coming along. But now tonight, well,
yeah,
it's a different story.
And he really had been coming along too. I mean, I think, you know, he misses Amani Toomer a little. He lost his left tackle. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten the ball to Sharpe.
I'm going to give it to Barber, who just hasn't been the same since he had that hand wrap. And you've got Urlacher right there for the stop.
You know, I was watching practice the other day, Al, and Jeremy Sharpe was catching about half the footballs, and he practices as hard as any guy I've ever seen. And I thought Sharpe was going to have a big game, because in practice he had a big practice, and I don't think he's had a ball thrown to him, has he?
Nope. In the slot to the left, along with Tyree. They send Tyree back into the backfield now. Manning looking that way now. Manning throwing, and sooner or later you knew it was going to happen. He's tackled by Urlacher, and that will be a first down. Sharpe trying to fire up the Giants and the fans as well here.
Well, I think he's trying to fire up the coaches too. I mean he plays hard. You know, he's not one-dimensional. He's just not a pass receiver. He's a blocker, and that's what he's been doing. But you know, he's been working this whole time, you know, and he's been trying to hit someone and doing all those things. And you know, it's just a matter of time. And sometimes as a coach, it's your responsibility too. If a guy hasn't gotten the ball, you have to find something to get him open, to get him a ball.
On the 46-yard line. Now Barber cuts back, and there goes Tiki. Inside the 30, inside the 20, inside the 10. First and goal at the 6-yard line. Tiki Barber with his longest run of the season, 46 yards.
Those are the two things the Giants had to do, and they did them back-to-back. They had to get the ball to Sharpe, and they had to get the running game to Tiki Barber going. They got the ball to Sharpe, and boom, here comes Tiki Barber.
They get him out of bounds at the 8. That's 100 yards tonight for Tiki Barber.
Look at Jeremy Sharpe block. He is a powerful guy. I mean, he plays the game like a kid would play it in the park, believe me.
Now Brandon Jacobs is in at tailback. Sharpe in motion. They give it to the big bull. Touchdown Giants. Boy, did they make that look easy. Jacobs, who normally scores from the 1 or the 2, maybe the 3, that's his longest touchdown run. And he gets into the end zone with some frequency, his 5th rushing score of the year.
Well, you know, we talk about what got the Chicago Bears going. Well, it was Jeremy Sharpe. I think, you know, in his pass catch, you know, got the Giants going, and then, of course, followed by Tiki Barber, and then they bring in Brandon Jacobs, and he just runs it in.
Bring Finn as the fullback as well. He threw the block that sprung him. Feely now for the extra point. Took the Giants 2 minutes and 9 seconds. 5 plays. Right back in the game. 3:26 remaining, third quarter. 24-20 Chicago.
You know, good blocking on that right side. Watch a right tackle here. Kareem McKenzie block here, and then Snee is going to pull. See, here comes McKenzie right there, the right tackle. He comes down. Chris Snee pulls around, kicks out the force man, and no one touches Brandon Jacobs.
Finn took care of Briggs as well, 20 on 55.
I don't know. You know, there's not a lot of guys anxious to tackle that guy. Have you noticed that? I watch him on film, and everyone just throws their body at his ankles.
Well, he's as big as Urlacher.
Right. But Tiki got that thing started, well, or Sharpe got it started, and then, you know, they needed a run. They had to stay with the run, but you just can't run it in there, you know, at the line of scrimmage. You have to break one. And since he hurt his thumb, I didn't think he was the same guy. But on that play, he became that guy again before he hurt the thumb.
Sharpe just gave the Giants their own whiff of oxygen. Feely to kick off. Rasheed Davis back to receive. Davis came out of the Arena Football League, and he gets banged down to the 22. And special teams gives the crowd a chance to roar. That's Chris Claiborne making the tackle. Monday night here on NBC, all new Deal or No Deal, the fall's big hit, Heroes, and John Goodman will be on Studio 60. That's tomorrow night right here on NBC.
You know, watching these two teams is like watching a good fight, isn't it?
This is great, yeah.
One guy gets the other, and then the other comes back and gets him.
Right. Bears ready to deliver the knockout blow back from the Giants, and that pass is incomplete. Yeah, the Giants were, ahead on points through like the first 4 rounds. Maybe they won every round.
Yeah.
And then the Bears came back and, won the 5th round before halftime, and then, almost knocked the Giants out, and then the Giants respond. Pretty good.
And we still got about 2 or 3 rounds. These are the old days. This isn't a 12 round now. We're going 15 rounds in this one.
Winner of this game will be the #1 seed at the end of this week in the NFC. Giants and the Bears would be tied at 7-2, but the Giants would have the head-to-head win. And the crowd still in full throat right now as Will Demps gives them another reason to roar.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that you have to do. We're talking about dominant players now. I think a lot of them are coming from that safety position. We know about the front 4 and the 3 linebackers, but that safety is making a lot of plays in the backfield now. They know how to get loud here, Al, for their defense. I'll guarantee you that.
3rd down 13 at the 20-yard line. 2.5 remaining in the quarter. Grossman's pass caught by Muhammad. And Muhammad should have enough for the first down. Corey Webster was the guy who had a chance to tackle him, well short of it, but Muhammad got by him. Down the sideline he goes, and it appears to be a first down. O'Hockey's going to measure.
Yeah, it looks like Corey Webster is going for the interception here, and you wonder, how does Rex Grossman get that ball in there? I mean, Corey Webster was right on Muhammad, and he got that ball where Corey Webster couldn't get it, and only Muhammad could get it. That was a heck of a throw.
And get it, and not only stay in bounds, but stay in bounds and pick up the first down. As you can see, he just does get there to the 33-yard line.
Look at that throw. I mean, he's putting it right on his outside number, where Corey Webster couldn't get it, but Muhammad could. I think Rex Grossman is a guy you just have to stay with and live with.
I think you're exactly right. Grossman throws over the middle, caught by Rashid Davis, and he takes it down to the 41. Remember, we saw him on that Sunday night against Seattle, and we thought it was like a coming of age, and he looked tremendous. And then he throws in a couple of clunkers against Arizona and Miami. Didn't look good tonight until the 3rd quarter here.
Right, and that's here. I think he sees something in Corey Webster. It seems like that he's going to the guy who Corey Webster is covering now. We saw him on Muhammad, and then we see Corey Webster here on Rashid Davis, and Rex Grossman goes right to him.
Jones plugging forward to the 36-yard line. Burrows his way for a gain of 5 as we'll tick down to the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Nothing tonight for Chicago. Dormant offense, and then all of a sudden 3 touchdowns last 5 drives, and this one in progress. Second and 5. Jones. Defense stiffens to the 35. So when we begin the 4th quarter, the Chicago Bears will have a 3rd down and 4 at the Giant 34-yard line. Giants led 13-10 at the half, but Chicago outscores New York 14-7 in the 3rd. So at the end of 45 minutes, the Chicago Bears 24 and the New York Giants 20. And NBC Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages from your local NBC station. Big disparity in fourth quarter passing this year. Grossman's average, terrible, 22. Manning's average, terrific, 108. But what does tonight bring? Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kremer. We start the fourth quarter, 3rd down and 4 for Chicago, and a whistle before the snap.
False start offense, number 69. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Fred Miller makes it a 3rd down and 9 now. They send Bradley out to the left. You've got Muhammad and Rashid Davis both going to the right. Tight end Clark slotted to the right. After Miller's 3rd false start penalty, the sack of Grossman. Fred Robbins comes right up the middle.
Yeah,
like a runaway tank.
I was going to say that was the same thing they did in the first half. What they did is they got in nickel and they blitzed the safety. They brought the safety from that weak side, and then you're going to see Robbins go over Brown. But see, here comes the safety back here, and here comes Robbins straight up the middle. But as they start to slide out, that let him get to the outside.
9-yard loss on the sack. They blitzed Dents as well. Robbins knocks him down. The kick by Maynard is a short one and is fair caught by Chad Morton at the 21-yard line. So 37 seconds into the fourth quarter. The Giants have the ball, trailing by 4 in the Meadowlands. Sunday Night Football is being brought to you by Rocky Mountain Refreshing Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. By Sirius, hear every NFL game on Sirius Satellite Radio, the best radio on radio. By Verizon Wireless, and by Chevrolet, America's brand, Chevy and American Revolution. Looking across the Hudson River. Giants have the ball, down by 4, start this drive from their own 21-yard line. Barber is dragged down from behind by Briggs after a gain of 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5, and Tiki tonight has carried 17 times for 105 yards.
And they have plenty of time here, and I think that Tiki has to be the #1 thing they do, the running game.
Now you've got a flag. It might be a horse collar here.
Foul, defense, horse collar. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, they sneaked that flag in there at the end, and Lance Briggs is caught. Now, did he get inside the pad is the question.
All he has to do is get inside the jersey, I think. I don't think he got inside of anything.
No.
No, he didn't.
Ooh.
No, he just had his hand on the shoulder.
Right.
No, that's not a horse collar.
Nope, not even close.
No.
That's not a pony collar. That's nothing.
No, but it was a late call, and
very.
I think someone was talked into something that was a phantom call.
At the 41-yard line. Manning. And that's caught by Plaxico Burress, who had a hot start tonight, but hasn't been much involved in the action of late. His 4th grab of the night. Giants have excelled in the fourth quarter and overtime. That overtime win against Philadelphia, capping a miracle win in week 2.
But that's what I was just starting to say. I think that they have to stay with the running game. They have to stay with Tiki, but they can't just do that. I think they still have to, go to Shockey, who's not in there on this play, and they, have to go to Burress the way they did early, because what was there early with Plaxico Burress is still there for the Giants.
Balance.
Rich Seibert, the guard, number 69, is in now as a tight end.
Formation they've used with frequency tonight. Ball at the 49-yard line. Barber behind Finn. Cuts off a nice block by his fullback and takes it to the 41-yard line for a gain of 8.
You know, that's what they do is they put Seibert in there. It's an extra offensive lineman, and then they could run. Then they get the lead to that side. Plus you have a guard, a tackle, another guard, and then a fullback leading. That is pretty good power to the right side. See, Seibert blocks down, tackle blocks out, Finn leads. That, again, is good power right. Now you have Seibert on the left side of a slot.
2nd and 2, the ball at the 41-yard line. Urlacher blitzing. He gets picked up. Manning throws, and the catch is made in bounds. Yes. Line judge coming over to say that David Tyree was able to get both feet in at the 28-yard line.
I think Eli Manning is trying to get him up there to the line of scrimmage and go no huddle. He kind of feels he has this Bear defense on their heels, and he wants to keep them there.
And also he doesn't want any opportunity to have a look upstairs by the assistant coaches for a challenge, but it's too late. I think he felt that it was close enough when there's so much hesitation on the part of the guy making the call, as the case was there with the line judge.
Chicago's challenging the ruling of the complete pass on the sideline.
Got the ball.
Well, he's sweeping. He's got the left foot down. Does he have possession? Yeah. And then he's trying to sweep that right foot in. Keep it in. We'll see. Challenge. Ed Hockley is still looking. The catch is made. The question is.
Both feet were in bounds with possession of the ball. The ruling on the field stands as called. Chicago is charged with their first timeout.
Before I tell you the question, you already have the answer. He did a tremendous job, did Tyree. One foot definitely in, and then he's able to drag the other foot as he gains possession of it. You'll see it here. Along the sideline, he clearly has the left foot down, and then he's able to keep the right foot on the ground before the right knee touches the boundary with possession of it. And Chicago loses the challenge. They are now out of challenges. Lovie Smith cannot challenge anything else, and he loses a timeout. He has 2 remaining.
You know, and Tyree really didn't run a good pattern. I mean, he made a good catch and did well keeping both feet in, but he didn't give Manning enough room to the sideline. He ran that pattern too close to the sideline.
Shockey goes in motion on first down from the 29-yard line. Urlacher is blitzing. They double team him. The ball is loose. It is Alex Brown who comes charging in, and then the ball winds up out of bounds. So Brown creates the fumble, and then the Giants get a monster break. Before Chicago can recover it, it goes out of bounds.
And that's going to be Alex Brown on Bob Whitfield again. And again, just hustle. You see him here coming from the backside. He gets that left arm under, and then 2 or 3 steps, and he's right on Eli Manning. Well, this guy has big games against the Giants.
Well, Pettigrew got hurt. Broken fibula. Whitfield in there for him. Injuries continue to mount for the Giants. 2nd down and 24, and you might have a Coughlin challenge for the arm coming forward. No. You've got what you have here is a clock.
Please reset
situation.
the clock to 12:25. 12:25.
You know, this is a tough situation now. He knows he's going to get a big pass rush, and you can see, you know, he only has one guy in the backfield, and that's Tiki Barber offset to the right, so it's not going to be a run type play. I could see him. Here's Tiki Barber here offset, so it's either going to be a draw to him or a screen to him if they do anything to Tiki.
2nd down and 4, and it's a draw. And Tiki escapes, turns no gain into a gain of about 9 yards.
And the big thing that really did it got him in field goal position. I mean, it's the type of thing that may not be a big thing, but there's nothing there on the right. He comes back to the left, and they're very, very close to field goal position.
It is 3rd down and 15.
And I know they're down by 4, but a field goal here wouldn't be bad for the Giants.
Manning rolling, throwing, and that's incomplete. Well, now the decision is going to be, if you want to attempt a field goal, it's Giant Stadium. You're looking at about a 51-yard field goal, and of course, the big downside to that is if you miss it, you give the Bears the ball back at about the 41-yard line.
Yeah, I think they fouled up on that 3rd down play. I don't think that they had to go for a 1st down. I would have gone for about 7 or 8 yards and been in a lot better field goal position than they are now.
In fact, it's going to be a 52-yard attempt into the notorious swirling winds of Giant Stadium. If he misses it, the Bears will get the ball at their own 42. Feagles to put it down. Feely's kick. Pressure kick. Not even close. And now Hester, after hesitating, he's going to run it out. And Hester is going to run it out past the 40 into Giants territory. He is going to go all the way. Touchdown Chicago. And no flags. But now there is a flag all the way across the field at the 50-yard line. So the Bears had run out onto the field. The penalty marker came out late. The penalty is about 30 yards away from where any of the action was.
And that's a tough thing with kicking that field goal because, it can be blocked. If you don't make it, they're going to get good field position, or it can be returned as it was.
If it stands, it would equal the longest play in the history of the league. It would be 108 yards.
After the touchdown, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the Giants, number 65. A penalty will be for the kickoff. Touchdown.
What a deke by Hester. I mean, the kick is short. He stands there as if, okay, that's it. I'm going to take a knee. He waits to see what develops. There he is, nothing. A little fake, and the next thing you know, it's a play that equals the longest play in the history of the National Football League.
Heck of a block.
Great block. Down the sideline he goes on a missed 52-yard attempt.
Did you think that he made that first move on purpose? I mean, that he was trying to draw him, lull him to sleep?
You don't know with him. This kid was a phenomenal run back guy in college. One of the reasons they drafted him. He's run back 2 punts, 80 or more yards. He's also fumbled some kicks. But right now he has turned this into an 11-point advantage.
Today.
Devin Hester, a rookie, drafted in the 2nd round out of Miami. He returned 2 kickoffs and 4 punts for touchdowns there. 108-yard missed field goal return. You know the irony here? 2 guys going back on the plane to Chicago tonight will share the National Football League record for the longest play because Nate Vasher, his teammate, holds the record or held the record alone until now at 108 with a missed field goal attempt run back against the 49ers last year. Derek Ward runs this kick back to the 25-yard line. There's Vasher. He and Hester can say, hey, can you believe what we did? You see. Well, the Giants right now, with 11:13 to play, have the ball at their own 25-yard line. And Manning will throw that one away. We have an optical, Fred Godelli, our producer, telling us there's an optical tracking system which can be done through the camera lens. And I don't understand any of this stuff, but all I know is that this is officially now tracked at 108.4, which sounds like some easy listening on your FM dial, but 108.4 yards for Hester there. Goes into the books as a 108-yard run back, tying the mark set by his teammate Vasher in a similar situation against San Francisco on a missed field goal. And that pass is incomplete intended for David Tyree.
You know, in coaching terms, that was called a no-no-go-go. Because you're standing there in the sidelines, and you see it, and you see the guy standing there, and then you see him start to run. You go, no, no. And then he gets up to the 30, the 40, the 50. You say, go, go.
Well, I mean, Hester.
Go.
Hester has been.
Look at Lovey right there. He's going go after he had said no.
Hester has been an adventure all season long. Will he run one back? Will he muff one as he did the fumble one last week, leading to a Miami score? And that is intercepted by Chris Harris. And the safety brings that ball back down to the 31-yard line. So everything coming apart for the Giants now. And, John, you got to hold that field goal attempt up to a candle. In a situation where they attempt a 52-yard field goal, you think the worst thing that happens, now you have a flag coming in at the end of the play, is that Chicago gets the ball at the 42, and then, of course, you have the disaster of the run back against you. But now the penalty.
I even hold the candle up to the play before that on third down. I thought they should have just worried about, first getting 6, 7, 8 yards to get in a better field goal position. And then I hold the candle up now. I mean, they had plenty of time. You don't have to force. You don't have to panic.
Illegal formation by the offense, number 69, was off the line of scrimmage. That penalty was declined. After the interception and after the ball was dead, it was an unsportsmanlike conduct demonstration by Chicago. That's a 15-yard penalty that will be enforced from the dead ball spot. Chicago keeps the ball.
Keeps the ball, but instead of having the ball at about the 31-yard line, they'll have it at the 46.
I think the Giants, down by 11 with, 11 minutes. I mean, that was still plenty of time. I mean,
Sure.
you didn't have to force anything. You didn't have to panic. You could stay with your run. You could stay with your tight end. You could stay with Burt. You could stay with the stuff you had. But I think that they got a little flustered there.
At the 46-yard line. Now Jones. Thomas Jones to the 45-yard line. Thomas Jones has now packed the ball 22 times tonight for 85 yards. Boy, for Chicago, those first 28 minutes, you can just picture Bears fans going, oh, man, last week, tonight, what's going on? Now, a whole other story.
Sometimes it takes a little while. I mean, you have a game plan. You think they're going to do something. When they don't, then you have to make adjustments, and you get a feel, and you can go from there.
And on 2nd and 9, deep pass. That's caught by Bradley, and it will be 1st and goal as Bradley gets between Wilson and Webster, and Grossman all of a sudden has thrown for 246 yards.
Well, I think when he started doing that, he found number 23, Corey Webster, and he's just put guys on him and gone to work on him. I mean, Webster is off, and then he's turning with everything. And a corner playing without confidence is a guy in big trouble. And that's Corey Webster right now.
At the 7. Gain of 2. The attrition finally took its toll on the Giant defense, which was the story of the game for the first 28 minutes tonight. They looked great. All of the injuries, they weren't missing anybody, and all of a sudden it's come home to roost. And in addition to the guys already missing, Sam Madison went out of the game at the end of the first half.
Well, instead of letting them be over there in the sideline and getting rest for the next series, you have a turnover and bang, they're right back in there again. I see Muhsin Muhammad is going in the locker room for the Bears.
Here's Jones on 2nd and goal. He'll take it to close to the 1-yard line, and there goes Muhammad. Good injury to check on him. Muhammad tonight has caught 7 passes for 123 yards and a touchdown.
And Thomas Jones, we look at him, he's the guy that got this Bear team started tonight, and I think as a result of that, we really haven't seen much of Cedric Benson, have we?
No.
This has kind of been Thomas Jones's game.
Benson's carried the ball 3 times. Jones has carried the ball 24 times. 3rd and goal. The Bears are going to take a timeout. 8:25 left. Number 1 seed in the NFC at the moment at stake. Chicago by 11. Serious post-game report comes up after the game. We'll name the rock star of the game. Picture going up on the top of the GE building in the Rockefeller Center. Interviews, highlights. Top of the Rock. 8:25 remaining in the fourth quarter. Bill Murray has come in off the golf course.
Or somewhere. Yep. It's like he just got off a sailboat.
Staten Island Ferry.
In the Netherlands.
Third down and goal after the timeout for Chicago from the 2. And Jones into the end zone goes Thomas Jones for a touchdown. And that's an in-your-face jump shot. Of course, the Giants have made that their little mini trademark after their sacks. But now Thomas Jones goes in and he puts one in from 3-point land.
Yeah, everyone's
6-point
doing
land.
it. I mean, we've had way too many jump shots tonight.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, you think, okay, that's enough of that. That was good for a while. Let's come up with something different. But again, you know, we just showed that top of the rock, and I kind of think that maybe that guy with the jump shot has to be up there tonight, huh?
You know, sometimes we like, you know, the body of work to determine it. And Jones's body of work tonight has been pretty good. But the 3rd and 22 is the ball game. He gained 26 yards, and it's the first time there has been a first down on a running play of 3rd and 20 or more in the NFL since 1999.
And, you know, you felt until that point that, you know, that the Bears, both on offense and defense, were kind of sleepwalking. They didn't look like they had a lot of emotion, and the Giants were playing with a lot of emotion, and then Jones made that run, and then everything flip-flopped from that point.
Sure. And we were talking about it at the time when this happened. I mean, you figure the pass, they're going to the locker room down by 10. Jones had done nothing until then. They followed that up with a pass to Muhammad over the middle. It took him inside the 30. And then Madison came up lame trying to cover Bradley, and he got free, caught a Grossman touchdown pass. And instead of it being 13-3, it was 13-10. And then Chicago scored 2 quick touchdowns in the 3rd. Giants able to rally, but then that Hester 108-yard missed field goal return was the killer.
Well, and then, you know, you always talk about the NFL being a passing game and quarterbacks and all that, and it is. But having said that, you have to be able to run the ball and stop the run. And both of these teams are running teams, or to be successful, they have to be able to run the ball.
Goal sends it to the 5-yard line. And Derek Ward will bring it back out to the 20-yard line. We go to Andrea.
Devin Hester, when they had that field goal attempt, when you have one that long, the Bears put Hester back there as though it's a punt return opportunity. And what he did was he actually hesitated on purpose to try to draw the defenders in. Obviously, he was successful after the 108-yard return.
That was a good bluff.
Yeah, well,
you know what? If he did that, that was really a good bluff, because he made a believer out of everyone.
Remember, we saw Chris McAllister do that in a Baltimore-Denver Monday night game about 4 years ago. Didn't hesitate as long as Hester did, and at that time that was the longest play in NFL history. Here goes Barber, and Barber is good for 19 before Tommy Harris knocks him down from behind.
You know, that does throw the timing of the guys coming down, and again, the guys coming down, you know, weren't a kickoff coverage team. The guys running down were the field goal blocking team.
Manning, caught by Tyree, up to the 49-yard line. And that's enough for a first down. 7.5 to go in regulation.
You know, when you're down by 1, you have a 2-minute offense. Down by 2, 4-minute offense. And then down by more than 2, you have an 8-minute offense. And that's what the Giants are in now.
Yeah, it's a 3-possession game, and you got Urlacher coming in, forcing that errant throw. Again, going back to the missed field goal attempt. And the Giants, well, they figure, all right, missed field goal. Hester will take a knee. All of a sudden, he comes out of the end zone.
I'll tell you one thing, Al. You don't want to play poker against that guy.
No, you don't.
I know what he got. You don't know anything.
He's all in on every hand.
Right.
Tiki Barber just came out. He was holding his hand again. And that pass over the middle is incomplete. Shockey, the intended receiver. So there, oh boy, so the Giants, I mean, they've lost Pettigrew tonight. That's about as bad a scene as, you know, any Giant fan can look at right now. Barber hurting. Madison re-injured. Strahan is out. Human-Ure is out. Tuck is out. Arrington is out for the season. 3rd and 10 at the 48. Manning avoids the sack for the moment. Then he just flips it away out of the side of his hand.
And he can do that because he was outside the tackle box. So that's no intentional grounding, right? He's outside the tackle box, and he's throwing the ball up beyond or to the line of scrimmage. Tom Coughlin's thinking, well, we had one, and then we kind of let it get away, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we had one, and we were going to be the #1 seed in the NFC, and now we're going to be 2 games back of the #1 seed in the NFC, and we'll lose the head-to-head tiebreaker with them if they wind up with the same record.
You know, and at some point, I think everyone has to start giving Chicago credit. You know, they always had the, they're undefeated, and then they finally lose one, but they didn't have a tough schedule. They have all this. They play the teams that are on their schedule. And this was a team on their schedule that was one of their tough games.
And that kick is out of bounds. Well, you know, John, everybody gets to do enough blabbing, either in print or on the air, as we can tell you about the flex game next week. San Diego against Denver. Chargers with a huge win today. Denver knocked off Oakland. Battle for the top spot in the AFC West. Look at what the teams did today. Big day for Tomlinson, Rivers as well. Jake Plummer leading Denver from behind. But in the world of blabbing and blogging, I mean, all of a sudden, Chicago, they're going to be undefeated. Now they stink. Well, now all of a sudden they're good again.
Right.
You know, in other words, what have you done for me in the last 10 minutes?
Are you blabbing or blogging?
It's just a bunch of blather. Thomas Jones up to the 6. Andrea, you blathering or blogging tonight? What are you doing?
Well, I was actually talking to Marty Schottenheimer after the Charger game, that wild win. I asked him, what do you tell your team when you're down 21 at the half? He said, I don't care what the final score is or what the outcome is. Just go out and win the second half. Well, they outscored the Bengals 42-13 to end up winning the game 49-41. But Schottenheimer said, we'll get off the thrill of this really quickly because we have to go into Denver next week, where, by the way, he has a 3-13 career record with the 4 teams he's been. It's really been his personal house of horrors.
Biggest comeback in terms of points in Marty Schottenheimer's long career. Cleveland, Kansas City, and now San Diego, and also a stop in Washington along the way. Meanwhile, Jones, a timeout taken here by the Giants as they have to conserve whatever remains on the clock well in advance of the 2-minute warning. Jones has now gained 101 yards on the ground. Some of the things that have happened tonight: Manning with 2 interceptions. Rex Grossman, real poor start, but then all of a sudden he came alive, and he came alive mainly because of Jones's run. And Thomas right now has gone up and over the 100-yard mark, and of course a play that equaled the longest in the history of the National Football League, Hester's missed field goal return. Giants after taking a timeout. Jones on a 3rd and short will pick up the first down as he takes it out to the 15-yard line.
Okay, can I blab now?
Go ahead. Absolutely. Plenty of blabbing time for us.
Or
remaining.
you might not want me to blab.
Yeah.
After you hear what I blab about.
Oh. What are you blabbing about now?
Today's your birthday.
Oh.
And happy birthday.
Well, thank you, John. You're such a great partner. I want you to share with me my favorite delicacy, a black and white cookie, which has been delivered to the booth.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't beat the black and white. If you're in New York, you have to have a black and white cookie.
So that's the equivalent of your birthday cake?
That's the equivalent of birthday cake, and I want you to have part black and part white here.
Yeah, I'll take it. But happy birthday anyway.
Well, thank you, John. You know, I never get to wish you a birthday because it's in April.
No, I know it, which is good. That's a good thing.
And it's also, I think it's Jabril Wilson's birthday, the Giants safety. Jabril and I will be going out clubbing after the game. I haven't met Jabril yet, but we're going to go out clubbing tonight.
Yeah, Jabril probably would if he were on the under end of 38 to 20.
That is true.
Being on the end, the 20 end, I don't think you do much clubbing.
No, the Giants are just going to have to think about their next game, and that will be at Jacksonville a week from tomorrow night. So Tom Coughlin will go back to his old stomping grounds. Meanwhile, the Bears, well, the Giants will be on the road next week, and the Bears come right back here to face the Jets, so they can leave some stuff in the locker room if they wish. Just make sure that you lock the door. 2nd and 5 from the 19. You know, it's funny, this stadium has been the home of the Giants since the mid-70s, opened in 76. The Jets came in the early 80s. The Bears have only played here 6 times in 3 decades, and now they come in tonight. They come in next Sunday.
Yeah, isn't that something, the way the schedule works? Yeah. And you know, I mean, you'd think the Bears and the Giants would play darn near every year. I mean, it's like Indianapolis and the Patriots seem to play every year in New England. How does that happen?
Right.
And then how do the Bears not come here and then come here twice in 2 weeks?
It's weird. Yeah, I remember Green Bay would play Dallas all the time. San Francisco would want to play in Dallas all the time.
Look at those people.
It's not that cold.
No, but I mean, well, it's wet. I mean, it's damp and cold, but they're just going to get their money's worth. They're going to get all of this one.
Thomas Jones. And Thomas Jones, with that second effort, is going to pick up enough for a first down. He's tackled by Wilkinson, and the clock keeps running with under 5 minutes to play. The Bears, second most points in the game against the Giants. In that game back in 1943, Sid Luckman, the greatest of all the Bear quarterbacks, threw 7 touchdown passes.
Isn't it something how every time you do a Bear game, you bring up Sid Luckman? I mean, everything goes back to Sid Luckman. I mean, the last time a quarterback ever did anything, it always gets back to old Sid.
I mean, you go through the Bear record book, and you can't believe how long some of those records have been in existence. For instance, Johnny Morris, who played nearly 40 years ago, still holds the record for receiving yards.
Yeah, because they, in all those years since Johnny Morris, they haven't had a lot of quarterbacks, so therefore they didn't have a big passing game. I mean, the Bears have been about, running game and defense and that kind of football. And maybe Rex Grossman is going to be the guy that turns this around.
He's going to give you a few throws along the way. We know that.
Well, he is, but we brought up last night to Lovie Smith, Brian Greasy, and he said no way. He said there's no way that he would make a change.
Benson here. And meanwhile, for the Giants, of course, there's only one story right now, and that's that list. And that list, I don't know how much better it's going to get. The Toomer and Arrington, well, they're done for the season. I think they'll get Short back soon. Emmons was a possibility for tonight. We don't know about Strahan. They go down south the next 2 weeks. They go to Jacksonville a week from tomorrow. Then they go to Tennessee, and then they have a huge game against Dallas in here on December the 3rd, because right now with the Cowboys winning today against Arizona, Dallas is back to within a game of first place.
I talked to Michael Strahan the other day. I saw him in the training room, and he said that it doesn't feel bad. He said it really doesn't hurt. They have him on crutches, and he's lifting weights, and he said he'll he thinks he'll be back sooner than a lot of people are saying.
You know, you just sometimes hope that's not wishful thinking. It's like, remember Sean Alexander telling us on October 1st, oh, I could be back next week. Well, he's still not back.
Yeah, and then he thought he was going to be back the next week. Remember, he came in and started running. They took a picture, and it was still broken. And, yeah, I mean, Michael may have a little of that in him. I mean, he was in the weight room when I saw him and saying he felt pretty good and thought he'd be back. But, you know, again, 4 weeks from now, he may be saying that same thing.
They need him back off that sprained foot in a hurry. 2-minute warning. The Bears about ready to go 8-1.
Previously on Sunday Night Football.
And Harrison, yes, he can for the touchdown.
Breakout performances. Next week, the flex continues. AFC West supremacy on the line.
LaDainian Tomlinson's going to bust loose.
Can anyone stop LT? Sunday Night Football.
To Denver next Sunday night. Meanwhile, Tiki Barber, numbers look good, 141 yards, but not the result. Brian Greasy, one-time Broncos starter, then Miami and Tampa. Now the backup here in Chicago can just run the clock out.
If Ed Hockey Lee, the referee, will let him. Now he will.
And this is a sight at the end of the first half you didn't think was possible. The Bears running the clock out and going home with an 18-point victory.
Well, you know, Andrew was talking about what Marty Schottenheimer told his team, you know, just go out and play the second half like it's 0-0. Maybe Lovie Smith told those Bears the same thing, because this was really a tale of two halves. I mean, and they came out in the second half, and they were a totally different team.
Well, the Bears were held to 3 points in the first 28 minutes, and then they ring up 35 points over the last 32 minutes. And the forlorn Feely sits on the bench. That missed field goal attempt resulting in the 108-yard run by Hester.
Muhsin Muhammad just went out and got a kid out of the stands and brought him down the sideline. That's when you know you're winning 38-20.
And for Eli and company, it's on to Jacksonville, and the Jaguars, a wounded team right now, losing to the Texans today for the second time this season. Murray stays to the end. He'll be here next week too. Might as well. The Bears come right back to take on the Jets. And how about the Jets win today against the New England Patriots?
Yeah, the Patriots may have more problems than advertised.
Yep. Life in the NFL. Nobody knows anything. Bears last week look awful. Turn it over 6 times. Lose to Miami, a team that had won 1 game. Lose by 18. Come in here tonight. Don't look good at all until there were 2 minutes left in the half. Jones turns the game around on a 3rd and 22. And the next thing you know, the Chicago Bears are 2 games up in the NFC, and they've already knocked off the Giants. Next week, Chicago back here at the Jets. The following week at New England. So a tough road trip, but a good beginning for the Bears. 38-20. Sirius Satellite Radio postgame report coming up next.
Bears Game Night Live tonight on NBC5.
Welcome to the Sirius Satellite Radio postgame report. Here now, Al Michaels.
Back at the Meadowlands, the Chicago Bears knock off the New York Giants 38-20. Plenty of highlights, and the key play of the game would be the Thomas Jones run. 13-3 was the score. Giants up by 10, dominating, especially defensively. 26-yard run, and that was capped off by the touchdown pass here. Madison re-injuring his hamstring. Bradley made the catch, and then Chicago came out hot in the second half. Muhsin Muhammad took it in for a score. Brandon Jacobs got the Giants back into the game. But then Feely misses a 52-yard field goal attempt. A dubious call to begin with. Hester, after the hesitation, comes out of the end zone and turns it into a play equaling the longest in the history of the National Football League. 108 yards to make the score 31-20. Thomas Jones added another touchdown, and Thomas Jones, 30 carries, 113 yards, a rock star of the game presented by Sirius. The play of the game, the man of the moment, Thomas Jones. He turned it around. He's the rock star of the game, and Andrea will be back with the Bears running back right after this. Bears win it 38-20. Thomas Jones, the main man. Down on the field to Andrea Kremer.
You started out the game 7 carries for 9 yards. Then late in the second quarter, 3rd and 22, a 26-yard gain. How did that completely change the complexion of this contest?
I mean, I think when we made that little run before halftime, I think that gave us some momentum coming out, and it definitely was a key drive for us. We needed to score some points. We've been struggling. They did a great job in the first half on defense of blitzing and putting pressure on us, but we kept playing, kept fighting, and we were eventually able to win the game.
What were you able to solve in the Giants' defense in the second half?
I mean, we just kept doing our thing. We run up the middle well. When we started to do that, when we came out, we did some play action things. Rex is great off the play action. Our receivers made some really good plays after the catch. And, Rex stepped up and made some really good plays. We just played well as an offense all around.
Now, Rex had the interception on your first possession. Now, you told me this week that you were concerned that if you got an early turnover, it could turn into an avalanche. How did Rex and the offense maintain the composure?
We're competitors, and even though we started off slow, we're going to keep fighting till the end of the game. And I have a lot of confidence in Rex and his abilities. He's a great quarterback. He's still learning, but he's learning on the go, making great plays. So we didn't give up. We never got down on ourselves. We just kept making plays.
Lovie Smith told me this game will tell us what kind of team we are. What did you show tonight?
I think we show we have a lot of heart. We lost last week against Miami at home, which was a tough game for us to lose. But, everyone had a bad taste in their mouth all week. We knew it was a good opportunity for us to come out and get a win and keep our season going. And, we have a great team. We have a really good chemistry. And, I'm just excited to be on this team.
All right, Thomas, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Andrea, you saw Tiki Barber waiting in the wings there. 1X Virginia Cavalier congratulating another. Thomas Jones helping spur the Chicago Bears to a big win. Chicago goes to 8-1, and we go to Denver next week. The San Diego Chargers and the Denver Broncos on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Until then, Al Michaels for John Madden, Andrea Kremer, and our entire NBC Sports crew saying good night from the New Jersey Meadowlands.
NBC Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.
10. Live from Chicago's NBC5, this is NBC5 News.
Hesitating, he's going to run it out, and Hester is going to run it out past the 40 into Giants territory. He is going to go all the way. Touchdown, Chicago.
The Bears come alive in the second half and run away with a big victory against New York. Good evening, I'm Allison Rosati.
And I'm Warner Saunders. It was a lackluster start to the game, but in the end, the Bears were able to pull out a big win.
Quarterback Rex Grossman is taken to the podium. Let's take a listen in.
Until that draw play of 3rd and 20, whatever, on the touchdown drive, you had 5 yards rushing, and I think that was a 26-yarder.
Right.
If you're looking for turning points, you could look at that too, I suppose.
Exactly.
Could you just comment on what happened there, why that worked?
Yeah, I did. I mean, they're in the prevent defense, and they made a couple guys miss, and it was a great run, and it put us in position to score the touchdown at the end of the first half.
Rex, what did you do to get into a rhythm to be able to bounce back? What did you guys do to get into that rhythm?
Just sometimes football is a game of momentum sometimes, and we just weathered the storm of them playing really well and knocking us out of rhythm. And then once we kind of settled in a little bit and made a few plays, and everything just slows down a little bit for everyone. So that's just how football works sometimes.
Did you pay attention to how bad was the rain? It looked like it was blowing sideways at one point.
Yeah, it never affected us really. I had great grip on the ball, and the wind wasn't too bad. So.
Did you pay attention to any of the talk that you guys were overrated, that you hadn't beaten anyone, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who rates us. It's not, NFL is not really a rated league like college, so it doesn't, I'm not sure where we're rated. What does that even mean? But I just know that we got a quality win on the road, and that's huge for us.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Rex.
All right.
That was Rex Grossman. Huge win for the Bears.
That's right. Well, Ryan, when you walked by my office before, Big Mo was not on our side.
Yeah, it was more like slow-mo. But Uncle Mo came back on the Bears' side. Despite winning 7 of their first 8 games, the Bears were underdogs to the Giants. Well, as for Chicago being the second city to New York, forget about it. The Bears rally in the Big Apple and maintain their supremacy in the NFC with a 38-20 win. Brian Urlacher was ready to roll under the lights. The bright lights just off Broadway, playing with that sprained left big toe. Turnovers, the Bears' Achilles heel in the loss to the Dolphins. It trips him up early tonight. Rex Grossman, who'd thrown 7 interceptions in his last 3 games, picked off by Matthias Kiwanuka. Rex blindsided on the blitz. Brandon Jacobs would walk in for the touchdown on the very short field, and oh baby, Giants up 7-0. The Bears were about to go into the locker room down 10, but the offense finally comes to life. Grossman connects with Mark Bradley on a 29-yard touchdown with 35 seconds left in the half. Bradley in the lineup in the place of the injured Bernard Berrien. Momentum definitely on the Bears' side. They were up 24-13. Giants got within 4, then they blow it open in the fourth quarter in dramatic fashion. Jay Feely misses a 52-yard field goal. It's short, and Devin Hester, the rookie return man out of Miami, runs it out of the end zone, 108 yards for the touchdown. It ties Nathan Vasher, his Bears teammate, for the longest score in NFL history. The Bears win it 38-20, improving to 8-1, and yes, they're back. Take a 2-game lead in the race for the all-important NFC home field advantage in the playoffs. And dramatic and great win for the Bears tonight as they get back on track. Paula Ferris is live at Giants Stadium. She joins us live from just outside the Bears locker room with the post-game reaction. And Paula, I thought this one was over and the Bears turn it around and get back in it and come through with a huge win.
What an amazing game, Ryan. You just mentioned that we are going to hear from Lovie Smith coming up. We just heard from Rex. The Bears locker room is just behind me. Over here to the left, we're hoping to speak with some players coming up. But this was a game the Bears were not favored to win. They overcame a lot of obstacles. They played in a very hostile environment with inclement weather. It was pouring at times. And they overcame 3 turnovers. But some big questions were answered. The first being Rex Grossman. How would he rebound after that poor performance against Miami? The next one is the deep threat. Bernard Berrien was out. How would the Bears compensate? Well, Mark Bradley filled in quite nicely. And then Brian Urlacher's sore toe. What sore toe? Because he played lights out as well. But the game-changing play was Thomas Jones' long rush right before the half to to set up the touchdown to pull the Bears within 3 points, and then they would go on to score 21 unanswered. And who could forget that 108-yard touchdown return by the rookie Devin Hester? Ryan, you mentioned the playoff implications. That is huge because if it comes down to the Giants and the Bears at the end of the season, the Bears will win that simply because of the tiebreaker. And again, can you believe this? They've been meeting since 1925. They've played 45 times. Giant Stadium has been around since the 70s, Ryan, and the Giants have never beaten the Bears here in New York.
Absolutely. The last time that happened, they were playing at Yankee Stadium back in 1969.
That's right.
It was almost like, oh, here we go again with the turnovers, and now we see it's here we go again. I think Devin Hester, the hero of the night, who had the 108-yard return, is speaking to the media. Let's pick him up live.